The swordsman catch me a batch. No need for too high a realm. Between the grinding soldier and demon, general levels will do. The more, the better. This is simple. Chonglu chuckled. The demon realm is full of such goods. I can grab a batch for you right now. Good. Just toss them straight into the small world. Got it. After disconnecting, Dai Tian stood up and walked outside the great hall. On the square, 15,000 clones were drilling. Their movements were perfectly uniform. Every punch and kick carried the sound of breaking air. Dai Tian gazed at this army. A flicker of contemplation passed through his eyes. The rare genius special training camp had been open for half a month. Those gifted ones sent here, though they cried for their mothers and fathers every day, had indeed improved quickly, but relying solely on hitting sandbags and running laps was ultimately just empty theory. A true powerhouse must be tempered between life and death. Little demon girl, here. The little demon girl emerged from the void, still holding half a pastry in her hand. Boss, what are your orders? Go inform Ada to bring the iron sinews over. Open up a small space. The other clones will assist. Build me a training ground within the black wind. Training ground? The little demon girl bit into the pastry. Asked indistinctly, what's it for? To give those geniuses some practice. Dai Tian smiled. Just taking beatings won't do. They need to learn how to kill. The little demon girl's eyes lit up. Boss, you mean real combat? Dai Tian nodded. Once Chonglu sends those demon soldiers over, just toss them straight into the training ground. Let those little brats face real enemies. The little demon girl gave a thumbs up. This way, their combat experience will skyrocket. And he grinned darkly. If they die, no loss. After all, they're demons. Go handle it. Got it. The little demon girl vanished in a flash. Dai Tian turned and returned to the Great Hall, opened the map interface, and began studying the next move. The Demon Realm's Blood Moon City. This was the territory granted to Yiyu by the Demon Emperor, and one of the largest military training grounds in the Demon Realm. The city walls were densely packed, with demon soldiers clad in black armor, wielding demon blades, each exuding a thick killing intent. Inside the central consciousness hall of the city, Yiyu sat in the main seat, his expression terrifyingly dark. The humiliation from half a month ago still gnawed at him. Have you found out yet? Below knelt a demon general, trembling all over, replying to the demon emperor. This subordinate is incompetent. Useless. Yiyu slammed his palm onto the armrest. The hard corpse stone instantly shattered. Half a month of investigation, and you found nothing, not even a fart. My lord, calm your anger. The demon general kowtowed like pounding garlic. That thief's actions were too secretive. This subordinate truly. Enough. Yiyu waved his hand, forcing down his rage. He took a deep breath, his gaze sweeping over the crowd in the hall. Since we can't find out, then stop investigating. Pass the order. In 3 days, the army marches out. Target the central prison. Yes, the demon generals answered in unison. Yiyu stood up and walked outside the hall, gazing at the blood-red sky in the distance. Whoever you are from the heavenly court, once I take the central prison, I'll settle accounts with you first. A spatial rift suddenly appeared in the heavenly court's small event space, followed by dozens of demon soldiers tied up like dumplings. Rolling out of the rift, boss, the first batch has arrived. Chonglu's voice came through the rift, bearing undisguised pride. These are all at the demon soldier level, between the refining tool and foundation establishment stages. Picked only the ones that could really fight, enough to give those little brats a proper beating. Day 1, looking at the demon soldiers still struggling on the ground, he nodded with satisfaction. Good, keep catching them. I want 1,000. 1,000, Chonglu was stunned. Is that enough? If not, there's 10,000 more. Dishan said calmly. I want those prodigies to know what a real battlefield looks like. Got it. Leave it to me. The rift closed. Dishan looked at the demon soldiers on the ground, a cold smirk curling at the corner of his mouth. Ada, throw these things into the training ground. Also, notify Haifeng Ridge that tomorrow begins the second phase of training. Theme, Life and Death Trial. Chapter 40, the trial begins. Prodigy's Cry, Haifeng Ridge Prodigy Boot Camp. The first rays of morning sunlight had yet to crest the mountaintop when the piercing sound of a gong echoed through the entire camp. Get up, all of you. Big things are happening today. Ada's trademark booming voice startled the prodigies still lost in dreams, jolting them awake. Yao sprang up from his bed, sporting two dark circles under his eyes, his face a picture of utter despair. Half a month of hellish training had turned him from a spirited genius into a salted fish ready to lie down and give up at any moment. "What now?" he muttered, mechanically pulling on the tattered hemp clothes that were already falling apart. On the bed next to him, the young master of Lianchi sect struggled to sit up, rubbing his chest, which still ached faintly. He'd been hit there by Lin Fan's staff, and it still hadn't fully healed. "I feel like I might die here." "Don't talk like that." The female disciple of Blood Blade sect, eyes red-rimmed, said, "I dreamed of my master last night. He told me to persevere. Give me a break." Another rolled her eyes. "I think you're so desperate to run away. You're dreaming up excuses to keep going." All right. Stop arguing." An older rogue cultivator stepped in to mediate. "Hurry up or we'll get beaten for being late." Dragging their exhausted bodies, the group left the dormitory. In the square, Ada stood on the high platform with his hands behind his back. Behind him was a massive iron door that had never been opened before. The door was covered in dense runes, exuding an eerie aura. "Everyone's here." Ada scanned the crowd below. "Good. Starting today, your training enters the second phase." Hearing this, everyone was stunned. Second phase. Is there something even more terrifying than what we've been through? The past half-month was just to build your foundation, Ada said, pointing to the iron door behind him. "From today, you will face real enemies." "Real enemies?" Yao swallowed hard. "What do you mean?" "Exactly what I said." Ada grinned, baring a row of white teeth. "Inside are demon soldiers captured from the demon realm." Demon soldiers," the crowd erupted. "We're only at the foundation establishment stage. Demon soldiers are equivalent to mid to late foundation establishment combat power. Isn't this just sending us to our deaths?" "I quit. I want to go home." "Shut up," Ada roared, and everyone fell silent. "Those afraid to die can leave now." Ada pointed at the camp gate. "But if you leave, tuition won't be refunded. And we'll notify your sects that you're cowards afraid of death." No one moved. Though terrified, no one wanted to go back bearing that label. "Good," Ada nodded with satisfaction. "Since you've all chosen to stay, listen to the rules carefully. There are 100 demon soldiers in the training ground, with cultivation levels ranging from Kai refining to foundation establishment. There are over 100 of you. So one each. Kill a demon soldier to pass the trial." His smile was cold, so he was killed by the demon soldiers. "This isn't a trial. This is clearly a fight for survival." Besides, Ada said that for the sake of fairness. The demon soldiers inside were all restricted in their cultivation. At most, they could only unleash the strength of the early pill foundation stage. And then Ada pulled a hand cannon from his pocket. He casually tossed it to Yi Yao. "You can use this." Yi Yao caught the hand cannon. His hand was trembling. He had seen this thing before. It was the one that had stolen the show at the expo a few days ago. "One for each person. Only one snack. Use it sparingly." Ada waved his hand. "Also, the trial ground has various terrains. There are mountains, water, and forests. You can use the terrain advantage and team coordination. Remember, this isn't a sparring match. This is war. There are no rules. No bottom line. Only life and death." After Ada finished speaking, the iron door slowly opened. From inside came waves of demonic energy, along with faint, indistinct roars. Interested, no one moved. Everyone stared at that door, their legs trembling uncontrollably. "What scared?" Ada sneered. "Then all of you get the hell back." "I'll go." Yao gritted his teeth and stepped forward. He gripped the hand cannon tightly, took a deep breath, and strode toward the iron door, with someone taking the lead. The others reluctantly followed, steeling themselves. Over 100 prodigies filed into the trial ground. The iron door closed behind them. Ada stood on the high platform, watching the images on the surveillance crystal. A faint smile curled at the corner of his mouth. The boss was right. Flowers raised in a greenhouse should be thrown into a storm to be tempered. Inside the trial ground, Yao walked cautiously through a forest. The silence around him was terrifying, broken only by his own breathing. The hand cannon was in his hand, his palm slick with sweat. Suddenly, a black shadow pounced down from a tree. Yao was scared out of his wits. Instinctively, he pulled the trigger. A blue energy bullet shot out, grazing past the edge of the shadow, hitting a tree trunk and blasting a charred hole. The shadow landed, revealing its true form. It was a demon soldier. 2 meters tall, covered in black scales, fangs protruding outward, a pair of blood-red eyes fixed on Yi Yao. Human, the demon soldier rasped, licking its lips. Kill you and I live. Since in stutter Yi Yao's legs went weak. This damn thing isn't a trial. It's feeding the demon soldiers. The demon soldier charged at him fiercely, its speed astonishing. Yi Yao wanted to run, but his legs felt like lead, completely immobile. He watched as the demon soldier's claws were about to tear open his throat. Bang! Another gunshot rang out. This time it didn't miss. The energy bullet struck the demon soldier square in the chest. Violent energy exploded inside its body, sending the demon soldier flying. Yi Yao stared blankly at the still-smoking muzzle in his hand. He had just killed a demon soldier. I did it. Before he could celebrate, more roars came from all directions. More than one. Yi Yao's face turned pale, and he turned to run. Meanwhile, on the other side of the trial ground, the young master of the Lion Shi sect was surrounded by 3 demon soldiers. He ran while firing, shooting wildly without any technique. Help! Is anyone there? A female disciple of the Blood Blade sect hid behind a large tree, her hand barely able to hold the gun. A demon soldier was slowly approaching him. A cruel grin hung on its face. Little girl, don't be afraid. The female disciple quickly closed her eyes. Her fingers trembled as she pulled the trigger. Bang, 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 all 3 shots missed. He opened his eyes. He found the demon soldier still standing there. Only a bloody wound now marked its shoulder. The demon soldier lunged at her with a sneer. The female disciple let out a scream. She pulled out her life-saving talisman, ready to crush it. Just then, a flash of sword light swept past, and the demon soldier's head flew off. A figure landed before the female disciple. It was that slightly older rogue cultivator. Don't be afraid. Follow me. The rogue cultivator glanced back at her. His gaze was steady. The female disciple froze. She suddenly realized that this usually unremarkable rogue cultivator now carried an indescribable sense of reliability. Meanwhile, in the central area of the trial ground, a small figure was dragging an iron rod. Strolling along slowly, Lin Fan let out a yawn. He looked around at those, big brothers and sisters, who were howling in terror. His little face was full of confusion. Were these pitch-black monsters really that scary? A demon soldier spotted him. A greedy gleam flashed in its eyes. Little brat, the demon soldier pounced. Lin Fan tilted his head. He swung the iron rod just once. Bang, the demon soldier's head burst like a watermelon. Boring, Lin Fan muttered with a pout. Not even as hard as Uncle Ada's fist. He dragged the iron rod and kept walking forward, leaving a trail of demon soldier corpses behind him. Inside the monitoring room, Ada watched Lin Fan's performance. He nodded with satisfaction, as expected of the child of destiny. Such talent, he then looked at the screens showing others. Some were fighting for their lives. Some were fleeing. Some were crying. But all of them were growing. Good, Ada muttered to himself. This is exactly what's needed. Only between life and death can true potential be unleashed. He contacted Dai Tian. Boss, the trial has begun. How are the results? Dai Tian's voice came through. Better than expected. Ada smiled. These little ones are scared, but not one of them has truly given up. Then keep it going, Dai Tian said clearly. After the connection was cut, Ada continued watching the monitors. Inside the trial ground, a life and death struggle was unfolding. And this was only the beginning. Chapter 41, Southern Imperial 9-year compulsory cultivation education. Black Wind Ridge trial ground. That heavy iron door, amid a grating, teeth-aching screech of metal, slowly creaked open. The morning sunlight slanted in, illuminating the brutal scene within. No cheers, no relief. Over 100 figures, leaning on each other, stumbled out battered and bruised. The hemp clothes they wore had long lost their original color, stained a dark purple-black by blood and grime, dried into stiff patches clinging to their skin. Some had cloth strips wrapped around their arms. Some dragged broken legs. Every single person's eyes were hollow and cold. That look, like a lone wolf starving for 3 days on the wasteland. Is that still Class 2? Lai Daoran, the deputy sect master of King Yun's sect watching from outside the camp, felt his pupils suddenly contract. The teacup in his hand froze midair, and he didn't even notice the hot tea spilling and burning his hand. At the front walked Yao. The childishness and arrogance on his face were completely gone. In his hand, he tightly gripped the energy-depleted hand cannon, its handle stained with blood. He walked up to Lai Daoran. No bow, no salute. He just calmly looked at his own deputy sect master. In that instant, Lai Daoran actually felt a chill. It was the coldness of someone who had killed and seen blood. After rolling through the brink of life and death, only then does one acquire that killing aura. Yao's voice was hoarse. He spat out just one word. Lai Daoran almost instinctively handed over the water pouch. Yao snatched it away, tilted his head back, gulping fiercely as his Adam's apple bobbed rapidly. The clear water mixed with the blood at the corner of his mouth, flowing down together. Boom, without any warning, a surge of spiritual power erupted from Yao's body. The surrounding air twisted violently. The bottleneck of the initial foundation establishment stage was pierced like a layer of window paper. Spiritual energy poured in reverse, forming a small vortex above his head. Foundation establishment mid-stage. Then like a row of dominoes falling. Boom, boom, boom. Within the crowd, one breakthrough after another erupted. The missing young master of the Bai family roared at the sky. His originally dim bronze skin, now shimmering with an eerie golden light, forcing his physical body's strength up a whole level. The female disciple of the Blood Blade sect held her broken blade, which hummed with an unprecedented surge of power. Blade intent burst forth from her body. Everyone broke through. Under the high pressure of death, these so-called geniuses had every ounce of their potential squeezed dry. Either die or evolve. Ada stood on the high platform, watching this scene, his face still expressionless. He simply drew a check mark in his little notebook. All still alive. Not bad luck. He casually tossed down a pile of healing pills. Eat them. Sleep for 3 hours. Continue in the afternoon. This time, I'll release 200 demon soldiers. The geniuses who had just broken through, and felt a flicker of joy in their hearts. Starting today, your training enters the second phase. All shuddered in unison, the light in their eyes nearly extinguished. In the corner, Lin Fan dragged his iron staff, a half-eaten chicken leg dangling from his mouth, and looked at Ada with a resentful expression. Uncle Master, I want to sleep for 3 hours too. Your brick-carrying task for today isn't done yet. Ada refused mercilessly. Lin Fan angrily bit into the chicken leg, mumbling indistinctly, damn capitalist. I'm going to file a labor complaint. In the core command center of the Heavenly Court's small world, Dai Tian looked at the data reports sent back from Black Wind Ridge, his fingers tapping unconsciously on the table. All 108 have advanced. This oppressive training method really works. Is the boss a demon? Little demon girl floated beside him, looking at the brutal casualty rate. The prediction is still 0 for now, but that's all thanks to Ada secretly controlling the field. This training method only works because we have an endless supply of pills. Any other sect would have gone bankrupt by now. This isn't bankruptcy. This is called early investment. Dai Tian stood up, looking at the 3D map. The golden dots representing Heavenly Court's forces on the map already covered 1/3, but most areas remained gray. Still too slow. Dai Tian frowned slightly, relying on just over 100 geniuses. Even if they all train to the nascent soul stage, they're nothing but a drop in the bucket against the Demon Lord's army. The overall cultivation level of the Blue Jade realm is too pathetic. Pathetic is an understatement. Little demon girl shook her lollipop, unusually serious. After the last immortal demon war, the orthodox traditions were shattered. Nowadays, cultivators, who can even condense a messy wisp of spiritual power, are considered lucky ancestors burning incense. The true ancient methods have long been lost. Dai Tian pointed at the map. The countless small sects scattered densely across it. Look at these sects. Each one hoards their incomplete techniques, like family heirlooms, hiding and guarding them. After the last immortal demon war, as the main battlefield, the inheritance gap here is too severe. The current cultivation world is like trying to build a rocket with an abacus. Dai Tian turned around, a glint of golden light flashing in his eyes. Little demon girl, activate the super brain computation unit. Over the years, the techniques I've secretly learned by sneaking into the major sects, and the rare manuscripts I dug up from the demon realm ruins. Scan and input them all. What are you planning? The little demoness warily guarded her private savings. System energy, this computation is huge. You need to pay more. Less nonsense, Emperor Tian waved his hand grandly. I want you to deduce a set of techniques, a ball. Maximum power, but with the lowest requirements. Strongest compatibility. Fastest cultivation speed. A set of techniques that can allow even those with 5-element mixed spiritual roots to cultivate just like those with single spiritual roots. An industrialized standard technique. The little demoness was stunned. She blinked her big eyes, as if seeing Emperor Tian for the first time. One, are you trying to become a sage? This is a great merit that benefits all living beings. Sage Emperor Tian sneered. I'm a merchant. Think again about this difficulty. 1 billion mortals. Why can only a million step onto the path of cultivation? Is it truly because their talents are dull? Emperor Tian countered, his words laced with a hint of mockery. It's the techniques that block them, and truly resources are priced sky-high. If I shatter the threshold, and let half of these 1 billion people step into the Kai refining stage, Emperor Tian spread his arms as if embracing a mountain of gold. 500 million Kai refining cultivators, each buying 1 Thunderfire 98, each consuming 1 Kai gathering pill per day. How big would that market be? The little demoness's eyes instantly turned into the shape of coins. Boss, you're a genius. This queen will get it done right away. 3 days later, at every Heavenly Court Pill Pavilion and Heavenly Court Armory, a huge notice board appeared outside the factory gates. No promotional ads, just one simple, bold line of text. Heavenly Court Basic Cultivation Guide 1.0 Revised Edition. Free to claim. At first, no one took it seriously. Which cultivation technique wasn't guarded like a lifeblood secret? What good could a freebie be? Until a down-and-out rogue cultivator decided to give it a try and claimed one. He was a waste with 4 spiritual roots, stuck at Kai refining layer 3 for 20 years. He thought this life was over. Right on the street, he opened that beautifully printed guide, which even included illustrations and vernacular annotations. Following the foolproof spiritual energy circulation diagram, he tried running it for 1 cycle. Heavenly boom! The bottleneck that had plagued him for 20 years shattered right there on the street. Damn, the rogue cultivator is stunned. Then the entire southern domain exploded. This guide was like a nuclear bomb, dropped into the peaceful cultivation world. It abandoned the profound, esoteric insights and mental states of traditional techniques, and directly told you in the most scientific, straightforward way how to absorb spiritual energy, how to navigate the meridians, how to break through blockages, and even the location of each acupoint was marked with extremely precise illustrations. Even an illiterate farmer could cultivate just by looking at the pictures. At the various sects within the Azure Cloud sect, the sect master stared at the thin booklet in his hands trembling. This circulation route is 30% more exquisite than my sect's orthodox new technique, and has no side effects at all. How dare they? How dare they give it away for free? Sect master, it's bad. An elder stumbled in frantically. The outer disciples are all passing around this technique, and even the servant disciples are practicing it. The low-level techniques in our scripture pavilion. No one reads them anymore. This was Emperor Tian's open scheme. A crushing blow. When top-grade techniques became as common as cabbages, those sects still hoarding incomplete fragments and broken chapters as treasures instantly lost their appeal to the lower-level disciples. But this was only the first step. On the square of the Blackwind Ridge Elite Training Camp, on the plaza of the Blackwind Ridge Prodigy Training Camp, for once Adar had changed into a clean set of clothes, though his muscles still strained the fabric to its limit. Behind him stood a newly risen and magnificent complex of buildings, wreathed in clouds and mist, with immortal cranes soaring aloft. It bore the appearance of a sacred immortal domain. This was the work of over 10,000 clones, who had labored overtime for 3 days to rush its completion. On the plaque, the 4 characters Heavenly Court Academy were etched in silver strokes on iron, exuding an ancient, world-dominating aura. Below it, besides the 100+ prodigies, stood high-ranking members of various sects who had rushed over upon hearing the news. Along with countless rogue cultivators, Ling Yi stepped onto the stage, adjusted his sound-amplifying artifact, and said, "Ladies and gentlemen, given the current state of the Southern Jade immortal cultivation world, the uneven distribution of educational resources, outdated teaching materials, and low teaching quality, after research and decision by the board of the Heavenly Court Merchant Guild, the Heavenly Court Academy is hereby established from today onward." Ling Yi pointed at the building behind him. "Here there are no distinctions of sect, no regard for background. As long as you pass the entrance exam, you will receive the most systematic guidance. We have a dedicated team of mentors for careful instruction, the most advanced giant spirit arrays, and pill refinement and Kai cultivation courses. The spiritual energy concentration here is 10 times that of the outside world. There is an open-access sutra library, which houses a complete set of improved techniques, directly leading to the nascent soul stage. Moreover, subsequent techniques are being fully developed. The faces of the sect masters below turn green. This is digging up our roots. If all their disciples came here to study, what would be left of their sects but empty shells? Of course, Lingyi seemed to see through their thoughts. With a gentle smile, he said, all sects may also choose to join as affiliates. Affiliates, someone couldn't help but ask. That's right, as long as you pass the Heavenly Court's qualification review. Each sect can be licensed as a branch of the Heavenly Court Academy. We provide the teaching materials, pills, and partial teacher training. Afterward, you handle recruitment and basic instruction. Through this method, we can share resources and progress together. Of course, for all outstanding graduates of affiliated sects, the Heavenly Court has priority hiring rights. This isn't progress together. This is clearly turning every sect into a talent pipeline for the Heavenly Court. But then, looking at the freely distributed cultivation guide, and then at the prodigies on Black Wind Ridge, who had been completely transformed in just 1 month. Who could refuse? Who dared to refuse? To refuse meant being eliminated, meant being abandoned by the era. The Azure Cloud sect wished to join. Lai Daoran was the first to step forward, gritting his teeth yet helpless. With the first came the second. The Blood Fiend sect joins. The Alchemist sect joins. In the Great Hall, Dai Tian held a teacup, listening to the waves of joining declarations outside. A smile curled at the corner of his mouth. Boss, this move of yours is absolutely brilliant. The little demon girl counted the jade spirit coins from the joining fees beside him, grinning from ear to ear. Now the entire younger generation of the Southern Domain has become your students. Not just students, even the elders and sect masters of the major sects. If they want to improve, they'll have to attend classes. After graduation, they'll serve as academy instructors. This is the true future of the cultivation world. This is truly every man a dragon. Dai Tian gazed at the rolling clouds in the distant sky, his eyes deep and profound. How is doing over there? Dai Tian suddenly asked. Has successfully infiltrated the depths of the 10,000 demon mountains. The little demon girl pulled up a light screen. That guy seems to be doing pretty well. On the screen, deep within the 10,000 demon mountains, had transformed into a monkey demon covered in golden fur. When he heard the news about exchanging for a demon clone earlier, this guy had voluntarily run back from Ganji to the small world, demanding to serve as the vanguard. So, on the first day, following the previous life spiritual version of Sun Wukong, he spent a fortune to have the little demon girl use all the collected living clan and essence clan selections to completely reforge it. At this moment, he was lounging with his legs crossed, sitting on a large rock, holding a special cigar made from spirit herbs, surrounded by a group of little demons listening in rapt fascination. Back in the day, when I was the boss of East Mountain, I was a renowned hero. With just these 2 fists, I fought from the south end of Black Wind Ridge all the way to the north slope of 10,000 Demon Mountain, which mountain's demon king saw me, and didn't have to call me Second Eye. Second brother so mighty. A group of little demons' eyes sparkled with stars. But why haven't I heard any? Elders in the clan mentioned second brother's fame. Suddenly, a little demon scratched his head and asked naively. Second brother paused. Another little demon beside him immediately jumped up and slapped him hard across the face. You idiot. Second brother is clearly a legendary spirit scroll. Do you think he'd bother bragging to a little demon who can't even reach the golden core stage? It must be that your elders are too old and forgot second brother's prestige. Second brother took a puff of his cigar and said, all right, don't sweat the details. Since you all call me second brother, then this forest protection fee no. Management fee will have to be paid by the rules from now on. First day's mouth twitched. This guy, whether as a human or a demon, his gangster vibe is always so strong. But perfect timing, Earth Heaven set down his teacup, a cold glint flashing in his eyes. The human side setup is almost done. It's time to speed things up on the demon side. Blue Jade's plan can't have any blind spots. Chapter 42, Changing Fate Through Lessons, 40,000 Avatars, 7 links. What's the plan? In the core hall of the Heavenly Court's small world, it didn't resemble an immortal's cave dwelling, but rather a giant warehouse. Just after a wild shopping festival, Earth Heaven gazed at the storage space, at the small mountains, piled high with top-grade spirit stones, his fingers tapping rhythmically on the table. the protection fees from the Nan-Usex Alliance, the remaining payments for the artifact orders, and the terrifying profits from the alchemy assembly line. All of this has made my wealth accumulate to an outrageous level. But money is ultimately an external thing. Only when converted into strength does it matter. Earth Heaven took a sip of spirit tea, his expression calm and unruffled. Little demon girl, boss, your queen makes a grand entrance. A flash of golden light passed, and the little demon girl appeared out of thin air, her big eyes reflecting only snacks, with drool even hanging from the corner of her mouth. Seeing the boss's expression of treating money like dirt. Is he about to make a huge purchase? A purchase. Earth Heaven waved his hand casually, with an undeniable air of boldness. Exchange for 15,000 avatar tokens. Synchronize all avatars below the Transformation God stage. To the early Transformation God stage. The little demon girl's abacus clicked and clacked. Afraid Earth Heaven would change his mind the next second. Reporting to the boss. Demon Clan avatars, 5,000. Original avatars, 20,000. Newly added, 15,000, total 40,000. Subtracting those already at Transformation God stage. Synchronizing all other avatars below that to early Transformation God stage. Requires a total of 5.42 million spirit stones. Shall I deduct it now? Earth Heaven nodded slightly. Sure, wishing the boss eternal prosperity and boundless longevity. The little demon girl spun excitedly in the air. One of the spirit stone mountains in the storage space suddenly shrank by a large chunk. The spatial barrier of the small world trembled violently. On the square, the originally empty area was instantly filled with a dense sea of figures. No noisy clamor, no chaotic auras. 30,000 people, a full 30,000 cultivators, opened their eyes at the same moment. Then, in an instant, nearly 30,000 terrifying auras belonging to the Transformation God stage converged together, forming a visible, tangible wave of energy that shot straight into the sky, almost poked a hole through the dome of the small world. If some unlucky cultivator were here right now, they'd probably have their Tao heart shattered on the spot. This is the power of money. Etienne stood atop the Grand Hall's high platform, looking down at this terrifying army, enough to sweep through this generation. His heart remained utterly still. He even felt it wasn't enough. 01 Boss 011 don't step out. He rubbed the bridge of his nose. Though surrounded by clones of the same realm, his aura still stood out uniquely. That was the calm cultivated over time. Numbers alone won't cut it. You need a sharp blade. Etienne pointed to the snack warehouse behind him. Dar and the others are all busy outside. You go first, 30,000 clones will be your charging bank. Push your realm up for me. Ling Yi understood without a word. He sat down cross-legged directly. Behind him, all 30,000 clones sat cross-legged at the same time, fully activating heaven and earth, absolute to assist Ling Yi's breakthrough. A vast ocean-like surge of pure spiritual energy, under the little demon girl's precise control, poured into Ling Yi's body without regard for cost. If it were an ordinary cultivator, they would have exploded long ago. But clones form a massive whole. As long as the insight is there, just go all out to break through. Days passed one after another. Within the small world, spiritual energy thickened into mist. Eventually, it even rained spiritual liquid. Half a month later, a crisp sword cry rang through heaven and earth. Ling Yi slowly opened his eyes. In his pupils, it seemed stars were born and died. He didn't erupt with earth-shattering force. Instead, he became even more restrained, like a divine sword sheathed in a tortoiseshell. Mid-stage painting God half a month. Just to break through one small realm, heaven and earth absolute. Every realm was perfected in every aspect, built on a flawless foundation. The foundation was thick. The time needed for subsequent breakthroughs grew even more terrifying. Dai Tian tapped his chin with his finger, his gaze calm as he pondered. It seems I must prepare more thoroughly for the long accumulation period after ascension. Forget it, the cart will find its way around the mountain. Little demon girl synchronized the strength of a Da, and a San Chong Lu. The little demon girl floated in the air, swinging her little feet. Tossing a snack in her hand, she looked at Dai Tian's annoying face with disdain. Too lazy to answer, with a wave of her small hand, she deducted the snacks. Far away in Black Wind Ridge, a Da was gnawing on a chicken leg. Mingling as the Monkey King in the 10,000 Demon Mountains, and Chong Lu lurking in the Demon Realm, along with Tang Ping, who had just wandered into a nearby town. All three, at the same moment, felt their auras surge violently. Deep within the half-waist mountain range, the golden-furred monkey was lazing around with his legs crossed, scolding little demons. Suddenly, all his golden fur bristled. A terrifying aura sent the surrounding little demons, tumbling and rolling across the ground. Damn, second boss just had an epiphany. Aur scratched his butt, feeling the surging power inside him. Grinning, he said, "Epiphany my ass. It's the boss handing out year-end bonuses." At the Black Wind Ridge Heavenly Court Academy, Ada spat out the last chicken bone, staring at the young boy Asen standing before him. Ever since the boss transferred the boy back from King Yun's sect, he'd been lazing around in the small world, slacking off. Who would have thought that scrawny little brat, after so long apart, had started reverse aging? He looked like a delicate porcelain doll, skin as white as a china figurine. When he smiled, two little dimples appeared, utterly harmless to the extreme. "Asan, I'll leave this place to you." Ada patted Asan on the shoulder. "Big guy, call me Instructor Asan, kid." Asan smiled as he adjusted his collar, his voice soft and sweet. "Or you can call me the Dean of Academic Affairs." Ada shuddered. Only family knows family business. Only they knew. This outwardly softest and cutest Asan was actually a complete scheming monster. "Fine, do whatever makes you happy. The demon soldiers are running low on stock. I'll have the boss notify Changlu to get more later." After Ada finished speaking, turning to face the 5,000 nascent soul cultivators assembled behind him, the clone waved a hand. "Brothers, time to work. The boss has ordered. Within 3 months, aside from the number 1 sect, the tough nut of the Heavenly Eye sect stays untouched for now. We must fully reveal the map of the remaining treacherous territories, whether they are ancient clans or film sects. Submit or be destroyed. Also, their scripture libraries must all be scanned for me." Ada bared a mouthful of stark white teeth. "Remember, we're civilized people. Look only, take nothing. If they refuse to let us look, then we'll fight until they do. Move out. 5,000 go." Streaks of light shot into the sky, like a swarm of locusts passing through, blotting out the sky above Black Wind Ridge. Inside the camp, the prodigies, who had just finished a morning of life and death trials, collapsed onto the ground one by one, watching Ada lead his men away. They had just breathed a sigh of relief. Finally, that demon instructor is gone. "Good afternoon, everyone." A crisp, pleasant voice rang out. The crowd looked up and saw a handsome young man, standing on the high platform, smiling warmly at them. It was the new instructor, Asan. The young man clasped his hands behind his back, his smile as gentle as a spring breeze. "I'm not as rough as Instructor Ada. I'm a man of reason and the softest heart." Yao and the young lord of the Lovebound sect exchanged a glance, both seeing relief in each other's eyes. "We got a soft touch this time. Good days are coming." So then, Asen pulled a thick roster from his robe, given everyone's rapid progress lately. Ordinary demon soldiers no longer serve any training purpose. To help you grow faster, this afternoon's trial will be slightly increased in difficulty. Before, it was one person fighting one demon soldier. Too wasteful. Asan's dimples deepened. Starting today, it's 3 per group. If you don't kill 5 demon soldiers within 2 hours, tonight you'll be thrown into the demon soldier pit to sleep, okay? The entire venue fell dead silent. The female disciple of the sword sect turned pale. That's right, the demon soldier brothers are very enthusiastic at night. Asen winked. "Also, I'll randomly drop some berserk pills into the trial ground to add a little game difficulty for the demon soldiers. Everyone do your best. Oh, and no crying. 1 cry adds 2 more. We're only at the foundation establishment stage." Looking at the boy with that innocent, carefree smile, all the prodigies felt a chill shoot from the soles of their feet straight to their crowns. This isn't a soft touch. This is a little devil in sheep's clothing, having arranged all external matters for the Heavenly Court's small event. Emperor Tian turned around, gazing at the remaining crowd of clones in the Great Hall. Lingyi had already taken 5,000 men to the alchemy and formation halls. His task was the heaviest, to quickly master all those stolen and plundered heaven-grade alchemy recipes, formation diagrams, and techniques, then convert them into assembly-line processes. As for the remaining 15,000 clones, they were now gathered in small groups, staring at the small virtual database panels, projected by the system, digesting and organizing all the data in the library. The remaining 5,000 sat cross-legged to one side, ready at any moment to circulate their energy and cooperate. Above their crowns, faint threads of divine consciousness were faintly connected, converging on the little witch at the very front. Few ignored the immortal cultivation attire. This scene looked exactly like a massive biological supercomputing center. Boss, we're ready. In the little witch's hand was something like a conductor's baton, her small face full of seriousness. 20,000 brains networked, full computational power activated, as long as the temporary resources are sufficient. Forget mere techniques, even the heavenly Tao's laws. I'll calculate a hole right through them. Then let's begin. Dai Tian found a comfortable position and lay down. Target heaven and earth absolute. The deduction of subsequent techniques follows the old rules. Offense, defense, speed. Primordial spirit, physical body. Dharma power. Every aspect must be pushed to the peak of each realm, all the way to the limits of the cultivation world. Ming Ba. Burn the funds. The little witch's staff waved, and on the square, the heads of 15,000 clones simultaneously emitted white smoke. A torrent of data streams surged through their minds, colliding, fusing, filtering. Countless technique manuals, scavenged from Naniu, were dismantled and analyzed. Then, each one passed through another clone sitting cross-legged nearby, and after being verified through operation, was reassembled. If before, cultivation relied on personal enlightenment, groping in the dark, then now, Dai Tian was using the brute force method of big data to violently crack the optimal solution for cultivation. Spiritual energy surged wildly within the great hall. Dai Tian watched this scene, and a faint smile curled at the corner of his mouth. All geniuses still secluded themselves for 3 years to comprehend a single mantra. I've already calculated 10,000 routes for spiritual power circulation. This is scientific cultivation. As the Zhao family of Naniu, a cultivation clan passed down for millennia. Ancestor Zhao Wuji had been in a good mood lately, though that suddenly emerged heavenly court had stirred up trouble everywhere. His Zhao family, relying on a high-grade spiritual and a protective clan formation, as long as they didn't provoke anyone, remained the local tyrants for 1,000 miles around. At this moment, Zhao Wuji sat in the main seat of the hall, listening to the steward's report below. Ancestor, the recruitment order from the Heavenly Court Academy has already reached our territory. Many branch family disciples are getting restless. Zhao Wuji snorted coldly, slamming his teacup heavily onto the table. A bunch of ingrates forgetting their roots. Tell them, anyone who dares go to that so-called academy will be expelled from the family register, or Zhao family's 10,000-year legacy, the Xuan Yuan Palace. Is it inferior to some? Trash handed out on the streets. The steward was about to respond, when a sudden thunderous boom came from outside. That so-called protective formation, said to withstand the void refining 7th layer, didn't even sound an alarm. It shattered directly into starlight across the sky. The ground shook violently. Zhao Wuji nearly slid off his chair. What petty villain dares trespass into my Zhao domain? Zhao Wuji roared in fury, unleashing the full pressure of his early nascent soul stage as he charged out of the hall. Then he forcibly swallowed that momentum. Back down, the sun above the hall had vanished, replaced by a dense, shadowy mass of figures. 5,000 cultivators in uniform black robes hovered in midair, each one exuding an aura, on par with his own, or even fiercer. 5,000 nascent soul cultivators. Zhao Wuji's legs went weak. His earlier rage instantly turned into cold sweat, trickling down his spine. This was no petty villain. This was a heavenly army descending to the mortal world. The crowd parted. Nada, carrying a black heavy hammer larger than a man, landed carelessly. Who's in charge of the Zhao family? Zhao Wuji shuffled forward 2 steps, trembling, cupping his hands in salute. His waist bent nearly to the ground. I am Zhao Wuji. I knew not that esteemed seniors were gracing my humble abode. I failed to welcome you from afar. May I ask? Cut the fancy talk. Ada waved his hand, his face all business. We're from the Heavenly Court Cultural Bureau. Oh no, the Heavenly Court Survey Team. We heard your Zhao family has quite a collection of books. I came specifically to browse through them. If you're borrowing the moon, bring 5,000. Divine Artifact Powerhouse comes to borrow books. Zhao Wuji's heart aches, but he dares not say a word. This scripture pavilion is the family's foundation. As the ancestral teachings say, Dong Ada slammed his heavy hammer onto the ground. The hard diamond rock floor instantly cracked. The fissures spread all the way to Zhao Wuji's feet. We are civilized people. We reason things out. Ada grinned. To Zhao Wuji, that smile was more terrifying than a demon's. Either let us read the books, or we tear down this mansion. Dig you out from the rubble and read then. You choose. Zhao Wuji swallowed hard. and quickly made the wisest decision. Let them read. Reading is good. Cultural exchange right. This old man loves it most. Open the gates of the scripture pavilion. Remove all the restrictions. A quarter of an hour later, inside the Zhao family's scripture pavilion, an extremely bizarre scene unfolded. Hundreds of clones swept through the bookshelves like a plague of locusts. They didn't even look closely. They picked up a jade slip, pressed it to their foreheads, set it down after 2 breaths, then grabbed the next one. The sound of flipping pages was faster than counting money. Zhao Wuji stood at the door, his heart bleeding. This was the Zhao family's millennia of heritage. Being wasted like this. Esteemed sir, Zhao Wuji cautiously sidled up to Ada. Those are all unique copies. Easy, turn them gently, don't worry. We're only scanning. We don't take a single needle or thread from the masses. Ada pulled out a toothpick and picked his teeth. Oh, right. That formation diagram from earlier was interesting. We're going to copy a set. No objections, right? And no objections. Half an hour later they finished. Ada waved his hand. The hundreds of clones withdrew from the scripture pavilion in perfect unison and reformed into ranks. Thank you for your hospitality, Patriarch Zhao. Ada patted Zhao Wuji on the shoulder, nearly rattled the old man's bones apart. As a gift in return, here's some news. The Heavenly Court Academy's branch still has a few spots left. If you act quickly, the Zhao family can still call the shots in this region. If you're late, Ada pointed at the 5,000 nascent soul army in the sky. When we come next time, it might not be just a visit. With that, the army rose into the air and headed straight for the next target, leaving behind. Zhao Wuji stood frozen in place, staring at the recruitment pamphlet that Ada had casually tossed to him, long unable to speak. After a long while, he suddenly spun around and roared at the steward, quickly. Prepare the carriage for Blackwind Ridge. Also notify all the clan disciples. Every single one of you, go sign up at that academy. Whoever fails to get in, I'll break their legs. Chapter 43. The Rise of the Heart Demon that Passed Like Smoke. Time is the cheapest currency, especially in the hands of a tireless workforce. The Heavenly Emperor tapped his finger lightly. The holographic map, suspended in the center of the Heavenly Court Hall, shifted accordingly. In just a month and a half, the golden light, representing the Heavenly Court's power, had already surged like a tide, sweeping across nearly 70% of the southern domain's lands. Only 2 stubborn dark areas remained on the map, the Nether Abyss and the 10,000 Demon Mountains. Like 2 glaring black stains. Boss, the technique is complete. The little witch had 2 huge dark circles under her eyes. Yet in her hand, she clutched a top-grade spirit snack, refusing to let go, as if holding onto her last lifeline. Behind her, on the square, the 15,000 clones responsible for deduction all collapsed backward in unison, lying scattered across the ground. Visible white steam rose from each of their heads. The 5,000 clones who had been sitting cross-legged not far away. The practical clones, practice clone, only about 3,000 remained. The remaining 1,000 plus hadn't finished their respawn time yet. Each of them had died at least 5 times by now. Dai Tian raised his hand and caught a single, golden jade slip drifting down from the void. This jade slip seemed unremarkable, yet it weighed as heavy as 1,000 jun. He had spent nearly 1,000,000 spirit stones, burned out the mental energy of tens of thousands of clones, and fused the essence of hundreds of sects. Heaven and Earth, absolute demon god, was far more than just a cultivation technique. It was a key to the path of supremacy. You've worked hard, Dai Tian said softly. You'd better pay extra, the little demon girl grumbled, then slipped into the system space to catch up on sleep. Dai Tian sat cross-legged, holding the jade slip. The moment his divine sense probed into it, a vast torrent of information surged through his sea of consciousness. In a daze, he began to sink, as if falling into an endless abyss. Damn it, can you even play? How did you die to that? A harsh scolding pierced his ears, accompanied by the sound of a cheap keyboard being smashed to pieces. Dai Tian's eyes snapped open. What the hell? What's going on? Did I transmigrate again? Transmigration within transmigration. Never heard of that. Dai Tian looked around. The more he saw, the more familiar it felt. Before him was no grand hall, no spiritual energy, no clones, only a cramped rental room less than 10 square meters, floor littered with cigarette butts, and a bowl of swollen instant noodles on the table. The air was thick with a suffocating mix of mildew and second-hand smoke. Isn't this where I lived in my past life? How did I get sent back here again? Damn it. He looked down and saw his hand resting on the mouse. His knuckles, slightly deformed from long hours of intense clicking. His own body, due to chronic malnutrition, had taken on a sallow complexion. That's right, he was a game booster. For a few $100, he'd pull all-nighters, going 24 hours without rest. In this virtual world, grinding levels for clients he'd never met. Farming gear, farming glory, climbing the ranks. Hurry up and help. Don't just sit there spacing out, a voice urged through the headset. Do you still want to earn this money or not? Damn, with skills like that, you call yourself a booster. What a load of crap. A chicken pecking on the keyboard plays better than you. That familiar, nauseating sense of powerlessness surged up in an instant. On the screen, character clad in divine gear was slaughtering all comers, admired by thousands. Off the screen, he was curled up in this sunless corner, like a rat in a gutter, draining his life just to survive. Who am I? Dai Tian muttered to himself. He took off the headset, ignoring the curses on the other end. Shut down the computer, stood up, grabbed his phone and half a pack of Tall Mountain cigarettes from the table, and walked out the door. Not far from where Dai Tian lived, there was a small river. Whenever he felt troubled, he would go for a walk by the river or just sit there. Tonight was no exception. Dai Tian looked at the bench he used to frequent and let out a soft laugh. It's been a while since I sat here. Seeing you again really gives me a strange feeling. Dai Tian sat down by the river, glanced at his phone. October 17, 2025, 9:15 p.m. Only 3 days had passed. Then he lit a cigarette, drawing in the long-missed taste of tobacco, gazing at the river's surface reflecting scattered lights, and sank into deep thought. Little demon girl, are you there? Suddenly, Dai Tian called out softly. There was no response. System, bring up the system interface. This time, his voice was much louder. But still, there was no reaction. Dai Tian fell silent. He didn't know whether this was all a dream, or a real experience. If it was a dream, he hadn't even fallen asleep. How could he be dreaming? If this isn't a dream, why would I suddenly be back in Wangxian? Dai Tian couldn't understand. In Wangxian, there was no fighting or killing. No need to worry about dying at any moment. But there was also no money. He was just a low-level beast of burden. No happiness, no girlfriend, no nothing, a bottom-tier waste. Poverty in this society is a sin in itself. Though the cultivation world had its battles, he had the system, could stay hidden in a small world, use clones to experience different lives, live the way he wanted. But now the system was gone, and I'm still on Blue Star. Nothing had changed. It was just that time had inexplicably jumped 3 days. First day, crushed a cigarette butt with my hand. Came home, took a hot shower, then lay in bed and fell into a deep sleep. Second day, woke up naturally, stared at everything in the rented room, fell into a brief daze, then got up and started cleaning the place. By the time I finished, it was almost 1 p.m. Just about to head out. Suddenly, a knock came at the door. Dai Tian opened it and froze, because the person opposite looked exactly like Dai Tian. Same height, same face. Literally identical in every way. Only this one was more robust, wearing a tailored, high-end suit that clearly wasn't cheap. A suit, and on his wrist, a watch Dai Tian didn't recognize, but it obviously cost a fortune. His hair was neatly styled, in stark contrast to Dai Tian's shabby outfit. A glaring difference. Hello there, Dai Tian. Not going to invite me in, the visitor said with a smile. Dai Tian stepped aside, clearing a path. The visitor walked into the room, looked around and said, not bad. Cleaned up pretty well, though the place is a bit shabby. You can still tell you put in some effort. Then he pointed at the pillow, yellowed from sweat stains. But your hygiene could use some work. Who are you? Why do you look exactly like me? Dai Tian asked bluntly, but the visitor didn't answer. Instead, he said casually, this outfit of mine. What do you think it's worth? Dai Tian didn't reply, just stared at him silently. The visitor turned, walked to the sofa and sat down, crossing his legs. Then, like a magic trick, he snapped his fingers, and a cigar appeared in his hand. Dai Tian narrowed his eyes, rushed over, grabbed the visitor by the collar, and yanked him up from the sofa. With a twisted face, he demanded, who the hell are you? A cultivator or a superhuman? Did you mess with my transmigration? The visitor just chuckled lightly, pushed away Dai Tian's hand, gripping his collar, and waved the cigar in the air. It lit up on its own. You want to know the answer? Stay by my side for a week. I'll cover your food, clothes, and shelter. Live in the best villa. Drive the best car. Wear the best clothes. When the time comes, you'll understand everything. If you're not willing, I won't force you, but I won't tell you anything either. I'll give you 10 minutes to think it over. The man glanced at his watch. Didn't rush him, just quietly smoked his cigar, watching Dai Tian. Dai Tian's mind was flooded with countless questions. Sweat poured from his forehead like spring bamboo shoots. He didn't know how to choose, nor what the consequences of his choice would be. Time ticked by second by second. The visitor got up and walked toward the door. 10 minutes are up. Looks like you don't care about the answer. Are you sure that if I stay by your side for a week, you'll tell me the answer? Dai Tian got no reply, only the sound of footsteps fading away. Dai Tian didn't ask again. He turned and followed him downstairs. A stretch Rolls-Royce was parked at the entrance. The car was surrounded by bodyguards. Residents of the neighborhood gathered 5 meters away from the car. Forming a circle, they discussed which family had struck it rich to drive such a fine car back home. The bodyguards by the car saw the man come out and immediately rushed over. They cleared a path through the encirclement for the man to pass. Someone ahead even opened the car door, waiting for the man to get in. On the first day, he followed the man into the car. Boss with a good memory, the man said. The man then spoke to the bodyguard, closing the car door. Afterward, the man opened the car's refrigerator, took out a bottle of red wine and poured 2 glasses. One glass was placed before Dai Tian. The other glass was elegantly held in the man's hand. Swirl it and taste it. This is top-tier red wine you can't buy on the market. Over $1 million per bottle. You need connections just to get it. Dai Tian picked it up and downed it in one gulp. Damn, that's awful. Can't even compare to the cheap liquor from the supermarket. The man sniffed the wine's aroma from his glass, smiling as he watched him. Time had flown by. 6 days had already passed. These 6 days, Dai Tian had experienced what true wealth was like. Spending millions in a single night at a bar, private jets. Standing by on the hotel rooftop at all times. Every day, seafood dishes. Caught fresh from abroad. Still alive and kicking when delivered to the kitchen. 24-hour expert and private medical teams on standby. Even if he just had a stomachache. After it passed, he'd get a full-body checkup. Dai Tian, wearing a bathrobe, stood in the gentleman's suite, before the floor-to-ceiling windows of the highest hotel's presidential suite, gazing at the picturesque scenery outside. The scenes of these 6 days flashed through his mind. He thought to himself, if only all of this were mine. Then, he put on clothes custom-made by a private designer, and strapped on a watch worth over 20 million. Dai Tian had secretly asked a streamer to authenticate it in a live broadcast. Afterward, he came to the living room. The man was already waiting on the sofa, still in his standard posture, crossing his legs, a faint smile on his face. The table was already laden with exotic delicacies. Have a seat. Let's just have a simple meal here today. We'll eat and talk. Talk about what? Dai Tian asked while eating. The man asked, how did you find the experience of these past few days? Do you want to own all of this? Dai Tian's chopsticks paused. What do you mean by that? Exactly what I said. If you want it, I can give you all of this. To be honest, the biggest internet giant in country C, Tencent, has already been acquired by me. In other words, I now own a company worth over $1 trillion. The man smiled as he looked at Dai Tian. I just want to know the answer. Is the answer still important? As long as you have money, power, and influence. Isn't life the same in any world? If you want it, everything I have can be yours. You can turn around and cash out trillions, even if you spend 100 million every day. And I'll give you another trillion on top of that, even if you spend 100 million every day. You won't be able to spend it all in this lifetime. The man said, then took a contract from the bag beside him, along with a pen, and pushed them in front of Dai Tian. Just sign, and all of this is yours, legally, compliantly, and rightfully owned. No longer a beast of burden struggling for survival at the bottom. You will become one of those standing at the pinnacle of this world. Want to be a ruler of a nation? You can buy an island abroad and found a country. Want to be a hero? You can spend money to hire mercenaries and sweep through enemy nations. Do whatever you want, as long as you sign. All of this will be yours. Boss, don't sign. Let this queen act. Dai Tian's pupils contracted. In his line of sight, that familiar and arrogant little figure appeared out of thin air. Hands on her hips, glaring angrily at him from across the table. Little demon girl, he murmured unconsciously. His voice carried a barely perceptible tremor. It really is you. HMPH, at a critical moment like this. Please address me as queen. Boss, you really don't make things easy for this queen. This queen merely went to take a nap. You actually got pulled into the heart demon's space by it. Good thing this queen arrived in time. Otherwise, if you'd really signed, even I couldn't save you. The little enchantress put her hands on her hips, and with a proud look, turned her head to glance at Dai Tian's hand. Dai Tian was stunned. He looked down. It turned out that at some point, the chopsticks in his hand had become a pen. The man across from him was still trying to tempt Dai Tian. What are you hesitating for? Don't you want to possess all of this? Do you want to go back to that cramped, dark rental room of less than 10 square meters? Think about the life you had before. Then think about the life you've had these past few days. What are you still hesitating for? Dai Tian looked at the man with confusion and asked the little enchantress. He can't see you. Boss, you're such an idiot. Even if you've never eaten pork, you've seen a pig run, right? Besides, now you've actually eaten pork. This queen, aside from you and the clone exchanged from the system, no other living being can see me. Let alone a mere low-level heart demon. Even the ancestor of all heart demons can't see me. The system spirit shrank its body, floated over, and stood on Dai Tian's shoulder, still with hands on hips, glaring fiercely at the man, as if her gaze itself were a weapon, sentencing the man across from her to immediate execution. So how do we get out now? See the steak knife on the table. Pick it up, walk over and stab him 80 or 100 times, and we'll get out. Oh, right, make sure to focus on the upper body. Stab the front, then stab the back. After that, burn him to ashes. Otherwise, you might run into situations like this. 1. The enemy stabs me in the left chest, but I don't die, because my heart is on the right. 2. The enemy stabs me in the right chest, and I still don't die, because my heart has already sunk to the bottom. 3. The enemy stabs me all over the body several times, and I'm not worried at all, because my heart is jumping all over the place, impossible to hit. 4. The enemy stabs me right in the heart, and I'm still not worried, with all those stabs before and not dying. I've long since put my heart in my stomach. The little enchantress waved her hand, and a meme from the internet projected before Dai Tian. Got it. Dai Tian nodded with a serious, approving expression. He pretended to adjust the air conditioner, and casually snuck the steak knife off the table, hiding it in his sleeve as he walked toward the man. The man was still busy brainwashing Dai Tian, completely unaware of the sharp glint in Dai Tian's eyes. Dai Tian walked up beside the man, wrapped an arm around his neck in a chokehold, and coolly drove the steak knife into the man's chest. As he stabbed, he said, I heard your heart likes to run around. I'll stab the left, then the right. I'll stab the right, then the lower. I'll stab the lower, then the neck. Then I'll stab the neck, then the back. I'll stab you so cold your heart flies away. Take a deep breath and relax. Dizziness is normal. Just sleep it off. The man, suddenly choked by Dai Tian, hadn't even reacted before his chest was stabbed over a dozen times. The little enchantress sat on Dai Tian's shoulder, directing. White blade in, green blade out. Boss, stab his gall bladder. White blade in. White blade out, boss, scoop his brains. White blade in, yellow blade out. Boss, stab his gut. She even told Dai Tian to stab the man's crotch a few extra times, just in case his heart ran down there. After stabbing the front, they flipped the man and stabbed the back. Finally, Dai Tian tore down the curtain, wrapped the man's body in it, and threw it onto the bed. Then he pulled out the wires from the headboard, touched the positive and negative ends together, and set the sheets ablaze. As the man burned in the flames, everything before Dai Tian shattered like a mirror. 44. Deploying troops to begin the conquest. The matter of the earth-heaven has now returned to the present. What filled his sight was the familiar dome of the Great Hall. He still sat cross-legged, his body utterly motionless. The Great Hall was silent, keeping him for a long time from fully pulling away from that star Capricorn. Boss, time to wake up. The little demoness, a lollipop in her mouth, fluttered her tiny wings, circling lightly around the earth-heaven a few times. Only then did the earth-heaven slowly focus his gaze on the little demoness. Why do I feel that this heart demon was a bit too easy for me to overcome? The earth-heaven asked in confusion. The little demoness sat on the earth-heaven's shoulder, explaining while eating her lollipop, Boss, he wasn't a true complete heart demon, just a mere projection of the heart demon law. When a cultivator's mind and strength don't match, the heart demon appears. The tribulation environment and abilities he creates are all determined by the tribulation taker's inner self. Boss, you were in the mortal realm of wangxian, undergoing tribulation as a mortal. So naturally you faced a mortal's heart demon. He was bound by the heart demon law, able only to disguise himself as a mortal, using a contract with you to make you sink into an illusion of wealth. If you had truly signed that contract, this queen would have had to find another master. Since he was also immortal, why didn't I just kill him with one slash? Why did you make me stab him so many times? Stab the front, then the back. Stab the top, then the bottom. Stab the gallbladder, then the bladder. Was that fun? The earth heaven roared angrily. With a flick of his finger, the little demoness was instantly sent flying. She tumbled several times in the air, before barely flapping her wings to steady herself. Turning around, she glared at the earth heaven with tearful eyes. Boss. The heart demon had money, power, and influence, and bodyguards standing right outside the door. I did it for your complete safety. What's wrong with making you stab a few more times? Besides, I'm ordered around day and night by you. No salary, no overtime pay, not even beauty sleep. Eating poorly, sleeping poorly. My skin has turned dull and yellow. Boss, look at me now, my butt's smaller. My chest is smaller, I've become ugly. And you start yelling at me. You're the #1 capitalist in all the heavens and realms. Day 1, watching the little demoness's exaggeratedly aggrieved look. And thinking it over, it did seem somewhat true. If that one strike had failed, the heart demon's counterattack would have finished him off. The earth heaven waved his hand helplessly. All right, all right. Stop acting, you little money grubber. Usually, read fewer picture books you just want to squeeze out some. Snacks, don't you? Go to the system space and deduct 10,000. Low-grade snacks as a reward. Got it, boss, big wife. With that, the little demoness dove into the space to count her snacks. Little rascal, the earth heaven said with a shake of his head and a smile. Then, with a thought, he used the small world's control authority to instantly teleport to where his clones were researching the single vibration device. Looking at the busy figures before him, his eyes grew deep. He had once thought that his past life's struggle as a bottom-tier grinder meant that after transmigrating, he only wanted to survive quietly, carefree and at ease. After all, having been steeped in 9 years of compulsory education, he had little interest in fighting and killing, only wanting to follow his whims. But the experience of the new Capricorn had shown him the fragility of freedom. That powerlessness at the bottom, that fear of being manipulated by fate, made him understand. True freedom can only be granted by absolute power and control. Perhaps it was time for this world, because of his existence, to be completely changed. 01, who had just come out of the single room, saw the earth heaven teleport over instantly. Boss, how's the research on the single vibration device going? The earth heaven asked in a calm tone. The single vibration device has now broken through to the earth grade lower rank. It's expected to take about a month to reach the middle rank. The earth heaven nodded. A heaven grade lower tier item is enough to serve as the vanguard. 01, you are to immediately lead 10,000 clones and teleport to the armory. Following the heavenly soldier records from my past life's memories, forge 100,000 sets of heaven-grade lower-tier silver armor and silver spears as quickly as possible. Additionally, craft 1 set of the investiture of the gods and the 10,000 demon sword. Be sure to strive for perfection. The higher the grade, the better. Their core function lies in being able to control high-level cultivators and the demon race. The system space has ample materials for the taking. If anything is lacking, notify Ada to collect protection fees once more. Ensure nothing goes wrong. It seems the boss is preparing to unify the heavens. Ling Yi rubbed his nose. Deep in thought, that is inevitable. A sharp glint flashed in Dai Tian's eyes. Go now, this is merely the beginning of our great enterprise. Ling Yi accepted the order and immediately teleported to the academy with 10,000 clones. Another day he summoned Asan. Asan had already led 10,000 clones to set up the heaven-shaking thunder formation within the Heavenly Court Academy, spanning 9 layers in total. Each layer's power must be honed to the limit of the current cultivation stage, to temper the foundation of the disciples. Nearby, several spirit-solidifying pools were dug out, and all the spiritual springs from the small realm were relocated there. On the recruitment square outside the academy, the questioning heart formation was laid, to test the students' moral character. Furthermore, 3 great guardian formations, the trap, kill, and defense arrays were set up, ensuring the academy's absolute security. This is the very foundation of our human race, so that we may venture into the central domain without worry. Rest assured, boss. Asan patted his chest in guarantee, then teleported to the academy with 10,000 clones. Dai Tian looked at the remaining 5,000 clones. The rest of you, follow me back to the main hall for intensive cultivation. Within the Heaven and Earth Absolute Hall, light and energy flowed ceaselessly, blurring day and night. On this day, a powerful vortex of spiritual energy suddenly emerged from the hall. Spiritual springs burst forth around the hall, transforming into water dragons of spiritual energy, drawn into the vortex and injected into the hall. None knew how long passed before the spiritual vortex slowly dissipated. Late nascent soul stage. This was the first time Dai Tian had personally cultivated and broken through. Since arriving in this world, previously, the system had always automatically synchronized the cultivation of his clones. Dai Tian slowly walked out of the hall, followed closely by 5,000 clones with restrained auras. On the square outside the hall, Ada Lingyi and the others had long been waiting. The left and right of the square, silver armor and silver spears stood in neat rows, radiating a dazzling light. Dai Tian approached, and seeing the heavenly soldier silver armor, identical to that in the Journey to the West TV series from his past life, could not help but nod. Boss, 100,000 sets of heaven-grade lower-tier silver armor and silver spears have all been completed. Lingyi's voice carried a hint of pride. The helmets and armor are each inscribed with divine stone and defensive formations, and the boots are inscribed with speed and weight-reducing formations. Moreover, when multiple people form a formation, it can merge into a military array, amplifying its power. The minimum is 2 people, with no upper limit. Additionally, the system spirit has bound the silver armor and silver spears to the system. If the wielder dies, the silver armor and silver spears will automatically be reclaimed into the system space. Not bad. Dai Tian nodded in satisfaction, then walked toward the silver spears. The 8-foot spearhead of the silver spear was tempered using a special secret method. Extremely sharp, and comes with a penetration formation that can break all techniques. The spear shaft is engraved with spiritual energy circulation and weight-enhancing formations. The wielder only needs to channel a trace of spiritual power, and they can draw upon the spiritual energy of heaven and earth, driving the spear without diminishing its power, ensuring sustained combat. What about the investiture of the gods set and the 10,000 demon sword? Dai Tian turned and asked. With a wave of Lingyi's hand, 3 streaks of light flew from beside the silver armor, suspending before Dai Tian. Dai Tian gazed at these 3 artifacts, a golden light flashing in his eyes. This aura doesn't feel like ordinary heaven-grade artifacts. Lingyi smiled slightly, like a worldly scholar teaching in a village school. He rubbed the bridge of his nose. The boss truly has keen eyes. After the painstaking efforts of our 10,000 clones, the investiture of the gods and the 10,000 demon sword are both half-immortal artifacts. Although it ranks at the bottom among half-immortal artifacts, it requires no subsequent reforging. The materials can be added directly to continue upgrading it into the Fengxian Bang, which splits into a main and sublist. This list can be produced multiple times, when the main list collects the soul blood of 200,000 cultivators. Once they are registered, their life and death are entirely under control. Even scattered immortals find it hard to escape this fate. The function of the divine-slaying soldier is already sufficient, apart from dealing extra damage to registered humans and demons. There are no other changes. The 10,000 demon sword and the Fengxian Bang are largely similar in effect and capacity, except that one governs the demon race, and the other governs the human race. The iron whip can reach both sides, and those on the list gain amplified power against each other. Dai Tian was extremely satisfied with the powerful functions and grade of these 2 half-immortal artifacts. He led his clones back to the Great Hall and ascended the throne, overlooking the tens of thousands of figures standing in solemn readiness below. A surge of ambition to dominate the world stirred within his heart. He slowly unfolded the system map, and golden light flickered across the southern domain's territory. With a light tap of his finger, a grand deployment of troops and generals began to unfold. Blue Jade Demon Sword. From this day forth, the era of the Heavenly Court's great unification officially begins. Within the Great Hall, the aura of slaughter intertwined with the radiance of freshly forged treasures. Dai Tian sat high on the main seat, his fingers tapping idly on the armrest. Below the steps, a Da and a had just recalled a 300 one, while Chang Lu had just recalled his 5 core clones, who stood side by side. Behind them were tens of thousands of clones, their aura clearly defined. Dai Tian's gaze swept across the entire assembly, and he was the first to break the silence. With a grand wave of his hand, the Fengxian Bang and the 10,000 demon sword, suspended in midair, descended slowly like 2 streams of light. Ada, take the list. Your subordinate is here. Ada stepped forward, his hands steadily receiving the golden list, which exuded an ancient and profound aura. It was heavy in his hands, as if bearing the weight of 10,000 mountains and rivers. This time, follow the system map's guidance, and have all cultivators at the nascent soul stage and above register their blood into the list. Even if they are to die the next moment, they must be registered first before dying. Also, send half of them to the Heavenly Court Academy within half a month. Waiting further orders, Dai Tian's voice echoed through the hall, devoid of any warmth. What I demand is submission, not negotiation. Anyone who disobeys will be dealt with as a traitor, and their entire clan will be eradicated. Understood? That simple smile now carried a chilling intent. Exactly what I said. A golden light flashed, and the bronze mirror, engraved with ancient demon patterns, fell into Ur's hands. Take the sword and enter the 10,000 demon mountains. Tell the demon lord, 3 days to surrender. If you bow your head and submit, you may still retain your dignity. If you refuse, you will bring about your own destruction. Then I will have Lingyi lead an army to trample the mountains and reduce the demon race to mere servants. Rest assured, I'll handle it properly. Ur toyed with the sword, a fierce glint flashing in his eyes. Changlu, you continue to lurk in the demon realm. Follow you to the immortal demon battlefield and await orders. Changlu accepts the command. Dai Tian was about to continue, when he cleared his throat, putting on a serious expression. Hey, boss, and the little demon girl appeared out of thin air. The army is about to set out. Putting on a serious and cautious look, boss. Before the troops move, provisions must be prepared. But the top-tier provisions haven't been fully equipped yet. With that, he waved his hand, and 5 sets of gleaming armor and weapons appeared in the air. An image of 5 sets of armor and weapons was projected in the air. The little enchantress waved her hand. Boss, look. These 5 sets of armor are the golden chainmail, same as the great sage equal to heavens, the lotus silk cloud-treading boots, and the Rui Jingu Bang a 3-piece set, the Da's Hunyun Yulong armor and Han Tian hammer set, Chang Lu's Yaoming Chuanling armor and Yanbo blood blade, San and Lingyi's Yunwen Zhengkeng Ming armor, paired with the Yu Yao Lai Qiang spear, and the Yuking Tongaming armor paired with the Yuking sword. These are all top-tier, growth-type half-immortal artifacts. These top-tier, growable half-immortal artifacts, they can grow alongside their owners. Boss want to buy them for them. All personally crafted by this queen. Quality is absolutely guaranteed. Ada and the others breathing instantly quickened. Their eyes were fixed on the set of equipment meant for each of them. They made no attempt to hide the longing in their eyes. Name your price. Yishin glanced at these few rascals. Not much, not much, considering the internal price. Boss, just give me 5 million spirit snacks. This is a bundled discount price. Every piece is a treasure that can be used even in the immortal realm. Miss this chance and there's no next shop. The little witch rubbed her hands together, smiling like a sly fox who'd stolen a chicken. Yishin was caught between laughter and tears, looking at the eager eyes of Ada and the others below the stage. He waved his hand helplessly. Fine, you little money grubber, deduct it. Got it before the little witch's voice faded. 5 streams of light shot out from the phantom, instantly covering Ada and the other 4, solidifying into form. In that moment, the 5's aura surged. Their divine might was awe-inspiring. Boss, see the instant effect. The little witch spun around smugly, then turned her sights on Dai Tian. They all have theirs now. As the lord of the heavenly court, your presence must be in a league of its own. Before his words faded, above the hall the wind and clouds shifted. Majestic dragon-guarded golden crown first coalesced, followed by armor covered in profound dragon patterns, layer upon layer, a longsword entwined with the ecliptic dragon's aura. Hung at its side, an ancient seal rose and fell, drifting. A pair of cloud-treading golden boots shimmered with light. Finally, a magnificent chariot, drawn by 9 spiritual Kai golden dragons, crushing the void, slowly emerged. Boss, take a look. This is this queen's painstaking masterpiece. The Heaven-Earth set and the 9-dragon chariot. Military growth type. Top-tier half-immortal artifact, the little witch's voice, carried a hint of pride, brimming with immortal charm. Changes at will. Worn, it becomes the Heaven-Earth divine armor. Wielding the authority of judgment. Worn, it becomes the 9-dragon talisman, manifesting the majesty of 10,000 sages. Offense and defense in one. Unmatched in might. With it, you'll be the most dazzling guy in all the heavens. Dai Tian was rendered speechless by the spectacle. He simply said, deduct the points. Got it. An even more brilliant stream of light instantly enveloped Dai Tian. The next moment, Dai Tian's inner sight deepened. He saw that his nascent soul had completely transformed. Clad in the heaven-earth armor, wearing the heaven-earth crown, sitting upright on the throne of the nine-dragon chariot. The heaven-earth sword lay across his lap. Above his head, the heaven-earth seal rained down divine light, shielding the entire nascent soul tightly. When Dai Tian opened his eyes again, only Ling Yi, Asan, and 20,000 clones remained below the hall. Waiting silently, he glanced at the system map, then commanded Asan, "Take 1,000 clones as the map shows. 3 per team. Eliminate all demon spies that have infiltrated the southern domain." "Got it, boss." Asan accepted the order and teleported away with his men. Ling Yi, report. Go to the prodigy camp immediately. Have everyone assemble on the training ground. Dai Tian's voice was steady and forceful. "I'll be there shortly." Chapter 45. This presence is truly invincible. A clear sound came not from the ground, but from beyond the 9 clouds, at the Black Wind Ridge training ground. The trainees, who a second ago were teasing each other, or lying on the ground pretending to be dead, instantly fell silent, like ducks with their necks squeezed. All noise ceased abruptly. This past month, being ground into the dirt by Ada and the demon soldiers. Their bodies reacted faster than their minds. This was an instinctive sense for top-level danger. On the high platform, space twisted slightly. Ling Yi's figure materialized out of thin air. He was still in his signature white robe, in this training ground reeking of hand filth and blood. He stood out clean and out of place. "Everyone stand up." His voice not loud. His tone was as flat as saying the wind is strong today. Yet it struck like a decree, precisely anchoring itself in every person's sea of consciousness. It carried an air of undeniable command. "Within the allotted time, tidy your appearance. Fall in and assemble." Ling Yi rubbed his nose. His gaze swept over the ragged, tattered prodigies below. "No training today. I'm taking you to see the world." "See the world?" Yao, who had been sprawled on the ground, jolted at those 3 words. He scrambled up faster than when fleeing from a demonic blade. At Blackwind Ridge, this phrase usually meant a massacre on a larger scale. See the world, or some twisted instructor, had dreamed up another sadistic game that could drive people to their deaths. "Move it if you don't want to die," Yi Xiao growled, yanking up the dazed young Master Lishi beside him. Within the span of a few breaths, all 108 trainees stood straight and square, as if measured by a ruler. Though every one of them was battered, their clothes torn like beggars' rags, that spirit within them, like freshly bloodied blades, gleamed with sharpness. Ling Yi said nothing, merely stood with hands clasped behind his back. Gazing up at the sky, the trainees instinctively looked up. At first, there was only a golden light in the sky, as if someone had lit a candle behind the clouds. Then the sea of clouds boiled. It wasn't the wind, but a force so domineering and unreasonable that it forcibly parted them. An indescribable pressure descended from the heavens. It wasn't mere high-level spiritual pressure, but a higher order, a kingly aura that made even the soul tremble. It felt as if the sky itself was collapsing, just to herald the arrival of one person. A piercing, majestic dragon roar shattered the drifting clouds and stopped every heart present in its tracks. Golden light burst forth in 10,000 rays, auspicious colors in 1,000 strands. 9 5-clawed golden dragons, each 100 zhang long, pulled an extravagantly luxurious chariot. On their massive dragon scales, crushing the void, slowly emerged, every single one, burned with solid golden flames. As their whiskers swayed, ripples visible to the naked eye spread through space. The chariot's wheels rolled across the sky, leaving behind trails of golden light that lingered long. "Holy shit, are those real dragons?" Young Master Lishi shrieked, his eyes nearly popping out of their sockets. His jaw dropped without him even noticing. 9 of them, and they are pulling a carriage. Someone beside him stammered. In the southern domain, even a single true dragon, let alone 9, or even a flood dragon with a trace of dragon blood as a mount, would be enough for a late-stage cultivator to brag about for centuries. And now there are 9 here. And they are pulling a damn carriage. The chariot hovered above the square, its 100 zhang shadow, blanketing the entire training ground. A figure stepped out from behind the pearl curtain, descending from the sky. He wore a crown with 12 tassels, a black 9-ornament ceremonial robe, and a white jade belt. Dragon aura coiled around him. With every step he took, Golden lotus illusions bloomed in the void to support him. He needed no extra movements, not even a wisp of spiritual energy. Just standing there, he became the sole focus of heaven and earth. Under this overwhelming imperial might, the so-called prodigies below, their legs trembling, felt their guts churn. This dual assault on sight and soul was 10,000 times more terrifying than Asen's smile-hiding knife torment. "Greetings, your majesty." Lin Yishuai knelt on one knee first, his expression solemn. Then, the clones on guard duty knelt in unison, their movements perfectly synchronized. The sound rolled like thunder. "Greetings, your majesty." The trainees no longer dared to stand. With a thud, they knelt one after another, their heads pressed firmly against the ground. They didn't dare lift their heads to look directly at that figure, afraid that one more glance would cause their souls to be scorched by that overwhelming majesty. Dai Tian stood atop the clouds. His gaze was as calm as an ancient well. "Rise." His voice was flat but carried an unyielding will. Trembling, the crowd raised their heads. What met their eyes was a pair of pupils that seemed to contain the birth and death of stars. "It seems you have all grown considerably." Dai Tian spoke slowly. His gaze swept over those young faces, which now bore traces of hardship and resolve. "Your talents, in any era, would earn you the title of genius. But in chaotic times, talent alone is a path to death. Cultivation itself is defying heaven. Perseverance, mental fortitude, and destiny none can be lacking. To stand here alive is your greatest fortune." Dai Tian raised his hand and pointed to the void behind him. His tone suddenly turned cold. "Thousands of years ago, the war between immortals and demons raged. The sages of the human race traded life for life, earning us a few thousand years of precarious survival. But the demons' desire to destroy us has never died. Now they have returned." At this, Dai Tian paused. The aura of a sovereign around him grew even denser. "I intend to unify Nan Yu, consolidate all sects, and march on the immortal demon battlefield. But before that, I have a question that needs answering." Before anyone could react, Dai Tian waved his hand. "Come forth." Boom, it was not thunder, but the clashing roar of countless metal armor plates. Like a steel flood, the sky turned black. This time, what spilled from the rift was no longer golden light, but a bone-chilling silver torrent that could freeze the soul. Tens of thousands of heavenly soldiers, clad in full celestial-grade silver armor, each wielding an 8-foot silver spear, stood arrayed behind Dai Tian like a mythical legion, blotting out the sun. No breathing, no heartbeat. Tens of thousands moved as one entity. Their silver armor merged into a seamless expanse, its reflected cold light dimming even the sun. The temperature of the entire Black Wind Ridge dropped instantly. Every heavenly soldier's aura was at the transformation god stage. The treasure light flowing from each set of equipment was at the heavenly realm level. Yao swallowed hard. The sound echoed loudly across the deathly silent training ground. Only one thought screamed wildly in his mind. Is this a wholesale market for transformation god artifacts? His own clan's ancestor was merely at the early nascent soul stage, usually treated like a living treasure. But here, tens of thousands of transformation god cultivators stood. Forget them, these mere Kai refining rookies. Even the #1 sect of Nan Yu, the Heavenly Eye sect, before this steel tide, wouldn't survive a single volley. This is true foundation. This is true invincibility. Dai Tian was pleased with the crowd's reaction. His gaze was like lightning. He looked down and asked, "Tell me if a cultivator, at a time of racial survival, betrays his kin and allies with the enemy, what should be done?" The training ground fell into dead silence. After a moment, a voice broke the stillness. "Kill them." It was a rogue cultivator. His eyes were bloodshot with hatred. Dai Tian nodded slightly. Simple and direct. "Is there more?" Yi Yao took a deep breath, stepped forward and knelt on one knee. He reported, "Your Majesty, if it's a rogue cultivator, execute them. If it's a sect force, annihilate the entire sect. Leave no one alive, not even a chicken or dog, to serve as a warning." As a child of a noble clan, he understood better than anyone the principle of uprooting evil completely. Dai Tian's gaze swept across the crowd, finally landing on Lin Fan, whose back was straight as a spear. "Lin Fan, you speak." Lin Fan looked up. His delicate face was filled with calm. "Master, if it is a faction, one should secretly control it from the shadows. Pass off the fake as genuine. Use them as the ears and eyes of the main demon force. Squeeze out every last bit of their value. Then grind their bones to dust and scatter the ashes. As soon as these words were spoken, many around gasped sharply. Good heavens, this kid looks harmless. But his heart is just as black. Not bad, Dai Tian nodded approvingly. Warfare is the way of deception. Your answers satisfy me. However, his tone shifted. An even more terrifying pressure enveloped the entire field. But if the one who betrays and colludes with the enemy is an elder of your own clan, is your benefactor and teacher, or even your own birth parents, what would you do then? This question, like a mountain of 10,000 tons of ice, crashed heavily into everyone's hearts. Killing an outsider is easy. Killing an enemy is satisfying. But if the blade is turned toward family, King Yao's face instantly turned pale. Her lips trembled. Those words stuck in her throat, heavy as 1,000 jun. A deathly silence fell over the training ground. This was no longer a question, but the ultimate test of human nature. For a long time, no one dared to answer. Since no one can answer, then engrave this question in your hearts. You will encounter it one day. Dai Tian withdrew his gaze, his presence slightly subdued. Ling Yi, your subordinate is here. The transmission array flickered. Dai Tian's voice once again resounded through the skies. From today, the 108 of you are the 108 star lords of the heavenly court. Lin Fan is the heavenly firmament star, commander of the star lords. Yao is the imperial fiend star, serving as deputy commander. Those still tangled in hesitation suddenly looked up. Their eyes burst with the wild joy of surviving a calamity. Heavenly court establishment. Look at those tens of thousands of nascent soul, heavenly soldiers in the sky. Look at that 9-dragon chariot. Only a fool wouldn't know what latching onto this thigh means. Thank you, your majesty, for your boundless grace. This time the voice of gratitude was louder than any before, and more sincere. Don't rush to thank me yet. Dai Tian waved his hand. Since you are my people, you cannot disgrace me. Your current strength is too weak. Ling Yi, adjust the training plan. Dai Tian pointed into the distance, at the Heavenly Court Academy built in the center of Qingyang City. From today onward, the Heavenly Court Scripture Pavilion is fully open to them. They may choose any techniques and weapons freely. Increase the difficulty of the Demon Soldier trials. Also, the Heavenly Thunder Tempering Body Formation, the Soul Calming Spirit Spring. All are open for free. They must temper their bodies for 3 hours daily. Additionally, Dai Tian flipped his palm. 108 jade bottles floated before everyone. The pills inside swirled with Dao patterns, their exotic fragrance overwhelming. All are Dao pattern pills. Eat them like candy. I have only one requirement. Dai Tian raised one finger. 3 months from now, I want to see 108 golden cores. Golden cores capable of killing enemies across realms. Can you do it? All reason collapsed at this moment. Freely chosen techniques. Bathing in spirit springs. Dao pattern pills eaten like candy. This isn't training. This is paving a heavenly path for them with resources. We can do it. We can do it. Roars shook heaven and earth. Every prodigy's eyes turned red. This is a massive win. We've struck gold. Excellent. The corner of Dai Tian's mouth lifted almost imperceptibly. He was very satisfied with this reaction. Turning, he stepped onto the chariot. Train well. Don't die. The pearl curtain fell, shielding that supreme figure from view, leaving only a light, drifting remark. After all, my medicine is very expensive. The 9 dragons roared. The chariot slowly turned. Behind him, tens of thousands of heavenly soldiers transformed into a silver torrent. Following silently following behind, Emperor Tian sat atop the 9-dragon precious mill and cast a glance at Qingyang City, once the town of Qingyang, now a great city spontaneously built by the major powers nearby. After the establishment of the Heavenly Court Academy, he nodded slowly, leaving behind a group of pumped-up youths on the ground. Lin Yi watched the fervent looks in their eyes, a meaningful smile curling at the corner of her mouth. All right, done being excited. If you're done, scram to the Scripture Pavilion and pick your cultivation techniques. One more thing, in an hour, everyone gathers at the Thunder Formation. From now on, cultivation will take place inside the formation. Oh, right. I've deliberately boosted today's lightning by 30%, guaranteeing a crispy, satisfying jolt. Now move it. Yao stood there dazed, staring at the jade bottle in his hand, its surface etched with the single mark of the Tao of food. The warmth in his palm told him this was no dream. He yanked out the stopper, and a rich medicinal fragrance coiled out like a spirit serpent. Just one whiff, and the hidden injuries within his body began healing at an astonishing speed. "Stop gawking," Lin Fan urged in a low voice, his tone carrying a steadiness beyond his years. "Instructor Lin Yi only gave us an hour. If you don't want a beating, follow me to the scripture pavilion." With a whoosh, 108 figures surged like wolves, catching the scent of blood, frantically charging toward the ancient building at the heart of Qingyang City, the Heavenly Court Scripture Pavilion, radiating an aura of antiquity. The moment they stepped through its doors, even their breathing stopped. The bookshelves here weren't made of wood, but of entire slabs of unknown cloud iron, with jade slips of various colors floating above them. Great Sun Incinerating Heaven Technique, a heaven-grade cultivation method. 9 revolutions body refinement, perfected to the point, where the physical body can rival a demigod's might. And this is free to choose. Whoa, this heaven-slaying sword art cultivated to its peak. One slash can sever an immortal. Exclamations erupted one after another. These top-tier secret manuals, which in the southern domain could trigger clan-wide massacres, were now laid out like cabbages by the roadside, open for them to pick. Lin Fan wove through the shelves, finally stopping before a jet-black jade slip that faintly emitted a 5-colored radiance. 10,000 transformations, 5 elements returned to one. This technique had only a single line of description. Refine the 5 elements into a golden core. Achieve supreme creation of the primordial spirit. Those without great destiny shall die upon contact. It's very similar to that nameless technique my master gave me. Heaven, Earth, Eternal Love, 7 Pillars of Jai. This is the one. Lin Fan grabbed the jade slip, his gaze resolute. Chapter 46. 3 heroes, 3 teams, the Heavenly Eye Sect's hidden card. Ridiculous. Emperor Tian returned to the Hall of the Small World, and Asen's figure teleported back almost simultaneously, a hint of lingering excitement on his face. "Boss, it's done." 173 little bastards, not a single one escaped. All wiped out. Emperor Tian waved his hand calmly. Under the surveillance of the system map, this was just basic routine. He flicked his finger, and a golden light sank into Asen's brow. The complete blueprints for 4 African-class vessels. Take 10,000 clones to the ice factory, and forge 4 ships at top speed according to these plans. The Heavenly Court War is coming. Got it. Asen accepted the order, then teleported away with his men, brimming with confidence. Meanwhile, in a hidden valley, 1,000 miles from the Heavenly Eye Sect, the #1 sect in the southern domain, the air twisted in the center, and figures clad in silver armor silently materialized. It was Ada, leading his 10,000 manifested heavenly soldiers. As planned, they sealed off a 100-mile radius around the Heavenly Eye Sect. Ada's voice spread through the entire army via divine stones. Set up the heaven sealing, earth-locking grand formation. Not even a fly is to be let out. Yes, 10,000 beams of light shot into the sky, and vanished in an instant. The next moment, the void around the Heavenly Eye Sect's mountain gate suddenly trembled. 10,000 heavenly soldiers appeared simultaneously, occupying every position. Their movements were perfectly synchronized. They formed hand seals, and formation patterns merged into the void. With a hum, an invisible heavenly curtain crashed down, completely sealing off the inside from the outside. Main hall of the Heavenly Eye Sect's peak. The Heavenly Eye Sect, in the midst of a council with its elders. Sect Master Chuan Chenzi. His face suddenly changed. "How bold! Someone dares to set up a formation in my Heavenly Eye Sect." A terrifying aura of the late nascent soul stage erupted from his body. He flickered, and had already brought several core elders to the edge of the mountain-protecting grand formation. When they saw the scene outside, everyone, including Chuan Chenzi, inhaled sharply, almost believing they had fallen into some illusion. Beyond the mountain-protecting grand formation, a dense dark mass, all soldiers clad in silver armor. Each one's aura was actually at the nascent soul stage. A full 10,000 nascent soul cultivators. Chuan Chenzi felt his heart skip a beat. Their Heavenly Eye Sect was hailed as the best in the southern domain. Counting himself, they only had 5 nascent soul elders. Yet this army's number of nascent soul cultivators exceeded their entire sect's inner disciples. What made his heart shatter even more was that the sect's artifact-refining elder was staring fixedly at the 10-meter-tall giant at the lead, his lips trembling, his aged face pale as paper, heaven-grade artifacts for every soldier, and he's wielding a half-immortal artifact. How can we fight this? What can we fight with? He had spent his entire life, barely, touching the threshold of an earth-grade artifact raffiner. Yet the enemy not only had heaven-grade gear for every soldier, but even the leading general used a legendary half-immortal artifact. How can we fight this? His desperate roar sent chills through all the Heavenly Eye Sect's high-ranking members. Who are you, sir? Why target my Heavenly Eye Sect? Chuan Chenzi forcibly suppressed the storm in his heart, shouting across the formation. Meanwhile, he secretly signaled an elder to rush to the rear mountain forbidden area and awaken the sleeping Supreme Elder. Ada, carrying the heaven-shaking hammer, spoke in a gruff voice, yet his voice boomed like thunder in everyone's ears. By order of the Heavenly Court, all cultivators at the Nascent Soul stage and above must quickly offer your blood essence to join the Heavenly Court's divine list, or your sect will be annihilated. Chuan Chenzi's face turned iron gray. My Heavenly Eye Sect and your Heavenly Court have always been like well water and river water, never interfering. Why must you be so aggressive, sir? Besides, my sect has a legacy in the immortal realm. Why push things to the extreme? My boss only gave two choices. Ada grinned, revealing his stark white teeth. Submit or die. Choose yourself. Just as Chuan Chenzi was about to say more, a terrifying pressure far beyond his own suddenly surged from the rear mountain forbidden area into the sky. Who dares to act recklessly in my Heavenly Eye Sect? An aged figure tore through the void, peering beside Chuan Chenzi. This man had white hair and beard. His form withered, but his eyes blazed with golden light. The aura of the late soul refining stage was released without concealment. Greetings, Supreme Elder. Chuan Chenzi and the others were overjoyed. Hastily bowing, the old man called the Supreme Elder didn't even glance at Chuan Chenzi. His gaze was like a blade. Pointing at Ada, I'll give you 3 breaths to get lost. Or die. Ada looked at him like he was an idiot, waved his hand behind him, break this turtle shell. 500 men maintained the formation's operation. The remaining 9,500 instantly transformed into formation masters, launching a fierce assault on the Heavenly Eye Sect's mountain-protecting grand formation. Before 9,000, nascent soul cultivators skilled in formations, the Heavenly Eye Sect's proud mountain-protecting grand formation couldn't even hold for half an incense stick before it shattered with a mournful cry. Courting death, the 4th Elder flew into a rage. The overwhelming pressure of the soul-refining stage spread everywhere. However, Ada merely let out a cold sneer. Fusion activated. 9,500 streaks of light surged into Ada's body. His aura, in a manner that defied all reason, exploded wildly. Peak nascent soul, early void refining stage, mid-void refining. Finally, it settled firmly at early body integration. Presence far more terrifying than the 4th Elder's. Crushed down in reverse. What kind of dark art is this? The calm and arrogance on the 4th Elder's face vanished instantly, were replaced by boundless terror. Ada gave him no chance to react. With a single step of his massive frame, he was already before the 4th Elder, the heaven-crushing hammer, larger than a man, carrying the power to tear space itself, came crashing down. The 4th Elder, his soul fleeing in panic, hastily summoned his life-bound artifact to block, but it was shattered into pieces by the hammer blow. Crack, crack. 4 consecutive crisp sounds of bones breaking rang out, under the horrified and despairing gazes of Chuan Chenzi and the others. Their invincible Supreme Elder had all 4 limbs broken by Ada's hammer. He was lifted up like a chick being grabbed. Ada grabbed the 4th Elder by the hair, shoving the investiture scroll before his face. Either you enter the scroll with dignity, or you die and I enter it for you. Before absolute power and the fear of death, this void-refining old ancestor completely lost his nerve. A wisp of blood essence drifted out, sinking into the investiture scroll. Ada casually threw him to the ground. Like a pile of mud, he glanced at the system map, then cast a sidelong look at the 4th Elder on the ground, asking meaningfully, your sect, is it just you as the Supreme Elder left? No more. The other 3 senior brothers have all exhausted their lifespans and passed away. The 4th Elder's voice trembled. Ada ignored him, dismissing the fusion, under the watchful eyes of over 9,000 nascent soul heavenly soldiers. All the high-ranking members of the Heaven's Eye sect obediently offered their blood essence. Facing those 9,000-plus glaring nascent soul heavenly soldiers, no one dared to resist. After all this was done, Ada grabbed the 4th Elder's hair again, dragging him like a dead dog. Lead the way to where your senior brothers passed away. I'll go burn some incense for them. Chuan Chenzi and the others' hearts trembled, not daring to defy him. They could only lead the way to the forbidden area at the back mountain. Pushing open the heavy stone door, The cave was filled with chilling cold. A massive coffin made of 10,000-year-old ice stood quietly in the center. Da walked up to the nearest coffin, and with a thought, a clone pushed open the lid. Then, facing the old man inside, whose complexion was ruddy and showed no signs of death, he raised his hand and delivered several loud slaps. Slap, slap, slap. The crisp sounds were especially jarring in the silent cave. Stop sleeping, Da shouted as he slapped. Someone's here to kill you. Boom, boom, boom. 3 ice coffins exploded simultaneously. 3 auras, no weaker than the 4th Elder's earlier, or even stronger, surged into the sky, directly blowing off the top of the cave. 3 old men hovered in the air, their bodies interwoven with deathly energy and spiritual energy, clearly using some secret technique to cling to life. 4th brothers stand guard. The old man whose aura had reached early body integration stared fixedly at Da, then glanced at the 4th Elder, who lay like mud on the ground. Murderous intent boiled in his eyes. Da, however, tugged at the 4th Elder's hair, pointing at the 3 old men in midair, and let out a dark laugh. Since you said there's only one Supreme Elder, then these 3 must be infiltrators. Demon spies. Fusion activated. 9,500 clones merged into his body once more. Da's aura instantly returned to early body integration. Junior brothers, 2nd and 3rd. Follow me and slay this fiend. The leading great elder roared, and together with another elder at peak void refining, they attacked from both sides. In the small world far away, the first day watched this scene unfold. On the first day far away in the small world, seeing this scene, he curled his lips slightly. With a thought, Asan, who was overseeing the weapon workshop, and Lingyi, who was training new recruits at Black Wind Ridge, were instantly summoned back to support Da. The next moment, above the heavenly eye, the space was torn open once more. Asan and Lingyi each descended with 10,000 clones. Without a moment's hesitation, they also activated clone fusion. 2 terrifying auras at the early stage of fusion instantly appeared beside Da. 3 against 3. The 1st and 2nd elders, who were about to surround Da, suddenly froze in their movements. The color drained from their faces. Quick flee, escape, and report to the immortal sect. The 1st elder roared hoarsely. He knew they had bitten off more than they could chew today. The 3rd elder, only at the late void refinement stage, upon hearing this, immediately crushed a precious spatial teleportation talisman. But the talisman's light spun in place, then dissipated. The 3rd elder's face turned pale. Refusing to give up, he transformed into a streak of light, frantically charging toward the outer edge of the heavenly eye. He slammed headfirst into the invisible heaven ceiling. Earth-locking grand formation. He was thrown back by the powerful rebound force. Spitting blood. With the heaven ceiling earth-locking formation. You can't go anywhere. Asan, carrying the desire-hunting soul-snatching spear, grinned like a little demon. Despair like a tidal wave completely drowned the last 3 guardian gods of the heavenly eye sect. Chapter 47, sweeping through 3 ancestors might unrivaled. Above the heavenly eye sect, deathly silence reigned. Even the wind had frozen still. The oppressive pressure of 3 fusion stage cultivators, like 3 ancient divine mountains, brutally crushed down on the heavenly eye sect, weighing on the hearts of its 3 old ancestors. Evil arts, Da grinned, his face wearing a simple, honest smile, but his eyes were filled with cruelty. We 3 brothers love reasoning with people. A hammer's size is the reason. Before his words faded, he made no flashy movements, no profound laws, just a single simple step. With a roar, space collapsed. Da's massive body instantly peered before the heavenly eye sect's 1st elder. The dragon shadows on his azure dragon armor roared, and the heaven-shaking hammer in his hand was raised high, stirring the winds and clouds. He brought it crashing down toward the 1st elder's head. The 1st elder was both shocked and enraged. As a fusion stage cultivator, an existence at the pinnacle among the 7 ancestors, when had he ever suffered such humiliation? He formed hand seals, and an ancient long sword flew out from behind him, instantly transforming into a 100-jang sword light. On the sword's body flowed the supreme sword intent, passed down for 10,000 years by the heavenly eye sect, meeting the giant hammer head-on. Heavenly eye's ultimate art, sword drawing the star river. This was the true ultimate art of the heavenly eye sect. One sword strike could draw upon the power of the stars, with limitless might. Yet before Da's heaven-shaking hammer, all of this seemed laughable. With a deafening crash, It wasn't the clang of metal, but more like a hammer smashing glass. The 100 Jang sword light couldn't hold for even a breath, shattering inch by inch from the middle, turning into countless specks of light. The heaven-shaking hammer's momentum didn't diminish, slamming heavily onto the first elder's protective spiritual light. The first elder was struck as if by lightning, flying backward, leaving a trail of blood in his wake. His protective spiritual light instantly dimmed, his eyes filled with disbelief. At the same time, the other two battlefields also saw their outcomes. The Heavenly Eye Sect's second elder faced Lingyi. He prided himself on his elusive movements, his swordplay light and agile, hoping to use speed to his advantage. Yet Lingyi simply stood there, his desire purging clear armor, making him appear untouched by dust, as the second elder transformed into 1,000 afterimages. The moment it struck, Lingyi moved. He only struck once with his sword, a slash so fast it defied reason, so precise it was terrifying. A soft sound rang out. All of second elder's afterimages vanished instantly. He himself was frozen midair. The life-bound flying sword in his hand was firmly pinned by the tip of Yuking's sword. The terrifying force from the sword tip made his arm go numb, unable to move an inch. Your sword is too slow. Lingyi stated the fact calmly. Then, with a flick of his wrist, cracked second elder's life-bound flying sword snapped cleanly. He himself was sent flying by a subtle force, his dantian Kai-Si churning violently. He spat out a mouthful of old blood. His aura withered and weakened. The worst off was third elder. He had been matched against Asan. That seemingly harmless little boy now acted like a little demon. Third elder only wanted to flee. He pulled out every last resort escape art he had. Hey, old man, why's are you running? Come play with me. Asan's voice carried a hint of childish glee. But the jade flame raging spear in his hand showed no mercy. Third elder had just transformed into a streak of blood light. When the spear's butt smacked him right on the rear, he tumbled out of the blood light, falling flat on his face. He had just crushed a teleportation talisman, when Asan appeared before him with a wicked grin. One foot stomped on the talisman, dispersing its spiritual light. This one's no fun. Let's try another after a few rounds. Third elder's heart was on the verge of collapse. This wasn't a battle. This was mockery, barefaced humiliation. I'll fight you to the death. Third elder went completely berserk, burning his essence blood, pushing his entire cultivation base. He charged Asan as a massive energy orb. Now that's more like it. Asan grinned, revealing a row of small white teeth. The jade flame raging spear in his hand thrust out fiercely, effortlessly piercing through the energy orb. The spear tip landed on third elder's dantian. HMPH all of third elder's cultivation. Like a punctured balloon, instantly drained away completely. He collapsed limply to the ground, his eyes vacant, utterly despairing. It's over, Dai Tian murmured softly in the small world. Above the heavenly eye, Ada let out a fierce roar and charged again at the still-resisting Grand Elder. A single hammer blow sent him crashing down from the sky. With a thunderous boom, on the main peak square of the Heavenly Eye Sect, it blasted a bottomless pit. Ada leaped into the pit, like grabbing a chick. He hauled out Grand Elder, whose bones were broken in countless places, and tossed him out, throwing him before Xu and Chen. And the others, Lingyi and Asan, also escorted the other two ancestors. They casually dropped them. The three ancestors, once so arrogant, now lay on the ground like dead dogs. Even moving a finger was a luxury. The entire Heavenly Eye Sect fell silent. All disciples and elders, including the sect master, Xu and Chenzi, stared blankly at the scene, feeling as if their worldview had been utterly shattered. Ada ignored everyone's reactions. He pulled out a crystal clear, fist-sized stone from his pocket. Hey, brothers, don't just stand there, look at the camera. He shook the recording stone in his hand, pointed it at the three ancestors on the ground, then aimed it at himself and Lingyi. Asan deliberately struck a mighty, heroic pose. Let's give our big boss some publicity. From now on, keep your eyes wide open when you're out. The recording stone flashed, capturing this incredibly impactful scene. In its entirety, the three cultivators at the combined essence and void refining stages collapsed like mud, limp and powerless. Three mighty figures, like divine generals, stood proudly upright. In the background stood 10,000 Deepora nascent soul heavenly soldiers, along with the kneeling high-ranking members of the Heavenly Eye Sect. After all this was done, Ada unfurled the golden, radiant investiture of the God's scroll and tossed it before the three old ancestors. Join the list or die right now. I'm a very democratic man, facing the giant hammer that dwarfed a man, and the chilling, murderous intent The last shred of dignity of the three old ancestors was utterly shattered. Trembling, they forced out their blood essence, which fell into the investiture scroll. Upon the golden scroll, three divine seals, reeking of decay, appeared. Good, Ada nodded in satisfaction, then ordered a clone behind him. Copy this thing 10,000 times, and spread it across the southern domain. I want by tomorrow morning, every corner of the southern domain to see this recording. Yes. Then Ada cleared his throat, mustered all his strength, and his voice rolled like heavenly thunder in all directions. By decree of the heavenly court, all sects in the southern domain, families, rogue cultivators, alchemy masters, and artifact refiners regardless of righteous or demonic. Anyone at the golden core stage or above has 15 days to report to the Heavenly Court Academy in Qingyang City. Submit your blood essence to the divine list, awaiting assignment. Once the deadline passes, those who do not come will be deemed rebels and executed without mercy. The last three words dripped with killing intent, making the entire heavenly eye sect. Mountain range's temperature dropped by over 10 degrees. Overnight, the entire southern domain went mad. Countless recording stones peered through various channels in every sect of the southern domain, every stronghold, and even in the hands of every somewhat famous rogue cultivator. The #1 demonic cultivator of the 10,000 demon cave, an old fiend who had just stepped into the mid-void refining stage. After watching the entire recording, was so shaken that he crushed the recording stone in his hand into powder. The image of those three old undying bastards of the heavenly eye sect, being ground into the dirt, made his heart race with terror. 10,000 nascent soul heavenly soldiers, three combined essence stage monsters. The old fiend's voice trembled, all his former arrogance gone. Sect master, we demonic cultivators will never be slaves. A reckless elder tried to shout a rallying cry, but the old fiend turned and slapped him across the face. Are you trying to die, you bastard? Or do you want the whole sect to die with you? When that hammer comes down, are you going to block it with your head? Pass the order. Take out those few treasures we've kept hidden in the vault. I'll personally go to Qingyang City to surrender. If we're late, even the spots for dogs will be taken. At Broken Kin Cliff, a famous gathering place for rogue cultivators, the atmosphere in the tavern at the cliff's peak was suffocating. In the center of the tavern, a massive recording stone was looping the famous scene from the Heavenly Eye Sect. Fake right. Those three old geezers of the Heavenly Eye Sect just lost like that. Look, one swing of that hammer, and the void itself cracked. What kind of power is that, damn it? Heavenly Court. Heavenly Court. What exactly do they want? Usually unruly nascent soul rogue cultivator, whose hand holding his wine bowl was trembling slightly, recalled those words, executed without mercy. Boss, check, please. He dropped a few spirit stones, stood up and headed for the door. Old Wang, where are you going? To Qingyang City, the rogue cultivator replied without looking back. I've always loved freedom, but I don't want to die. Scenes like this played out endlessly in every corner of the southern domain. Fear spread like a plague, at an unprecedented speed. Countless old monsters who had been in seclusion for years were stirred awake. Countless proud sect masters spent sleepless nights in the face of absolute, unreasonable power. All schemes and plots, all pride and integrity became a joke. The Heavenly Court, in the most domineering way, truly engraved itself into the southern domain. All the embellished depths of the soul. Chapter 48. Young Giant's spiritual adornments unify, a rare encounter with the Heavenly Court's minor incident. In the great hall, Dai Tian sat upright upon the nine-dragon treasure carriage. Before him, the massive Liu Ying stone was in full bloom, projecting his deeds within the Black Wind realm. The majesty of the 9 dragons pulling the carriage. The awe-inspiring spectacle of 10,000 soldiers paying homage. Even he felt his heart surging with excitement. Yet this surge was soon replaced by a chill rising from the depths of his heart. He waved his hand abruptly. The flowing images of the scene came to a halt. Too ostentatious, Dai Tian muttered to himself, their brows tightly furrowed. Heavenly Yan sect master's words about the immortal realm also having inheritances stuck in his heart like a thorn. The waters of this world ran deeper than he had imagined. If some immortal realm grandmaster were struck by a whim and swept a divine thought across the lower realm, discovering him an art that did not belong to this world. Heaven fought a Korean war. An immortal technique could erase him across billions of miles of void. Who would he complain to? No, stealth was the true path. The main body must never appear in the outside world again. Little demon girl, here. Boss, what are your orders? The little demon girl appeared out of nowhere. Spiritual fruit stolen from somewhere dangling from her mouth. Exchange for 10,001 early-stage incarnations. One of them I will personally edit the face. Dai Tian stated calmly. Alrighty, the little demon girl's eyes went wide and she swiftly deducted a huge sum from the system space. On the small world plaza, it was once again filled with over 10,000 figures. Dai Tian looked at one of the faceless energy bodies. His divine sense surged, and he began meticulous editing. The clone's form stretched, becoming tall and straight as a pine. Facial features gradually sharpened, sword-like brows slanting into the temples, phoenix eyes with a hint of charm, a high, straight-nosed bridge, thin but firm lips, a face so handsome it was flawless, yet brimming with a sinister aura emerged. It was unmistakably the image from Dai Tian's past life memories, of that ancient costume heartthrob, Jiao Maojin, with an added touch of divine majesty between the brows. From now on, you shall be called Young Jai, or you can be the avatar of heaven and earth, Dai Tian's own path. As I walk through the myriad realms, little demon girl, equip him with a set of gear. Understood, the little demon girl had long prepared. With a wave of her hand, she presented a price list. Dai Tian didn't look at it. Simply said 2 words, deduct the cost. A flash of fluorescent light passed. Over the newly born young giant. A layer of shimmering spiritual armor covered him, holding a 3-pointed double-edged blade. Majestic and imposing, with an air of grandeur, like the true Lord Erlang stepping out of myth. Having arranged all this, Dai Tian slowly rose to his feet. His gaze swept over the newly exchanged 10,000 clones. Young giant, from this day forward, all external matters of the heavenly court shall be decided by you, Ada, Lin Yi, and the others in consultation. Dai Tian raised. Dai Tian's voice echoed through the hall, carrying an unquestionable finality. Quickly integrate all forces in the southern domain. March to the immortal demon battlefield, and completely eradicate the great demon threat. As for how to do it, and when, you decide for yourselves. I am going into seclusion. With that, Dai Tian's form flickered, and vanished with the 10,000 newly born incarnations. Disappearing into the depths of the hall, the massive 9-dragon treasure carriage also faded. He needed to break through to this world's limits, at the fastest possible speed. 3 days later, above the originally calm 10,000 demon mountain range, space was suddenly torn open by a brutal force. Young giant clad in silver, armor and wielding his 3-pointed double-edged blade, stepped out first. Behind him were a San, and a pitch-black sea of 30,000 incarnations, heavenly soldier phoenix. Young giant gave a single command, and the Dharma manifestation extended. 10,000 heavenly soldiers dispersed instantly, forming the heaven-sealing, earth-binding grand formation, completely sealing off the mountain range, spanning 100,000 miles. Da and Ascend merged their orders. The 3 erupted simultaneously, each channeling the power of 10,000 clones into themselves. Boom, boom, boom. 3 auras far surpassing chain void, stably reaching the mid-stage harmony soul's terrifying presence. Like 3 suns, suddenly blazing above the 10,000 demon mountains. What deity dares to act recklessly in our 10,000 demon mountains? 3 equally fierce demonic auras burst forth from the depths of the mountains. They were the 3 demon lords entrenched here. Yet when they saw clearly in midair, those 3 godlike figures, and their nearly overwhelming, the 3 demon lords had just charged out of the mountain peaks. When they slammed on the brakes midair, their faces full of terror, 3 mid-stage harmony soul cultivators. 1 tiger demon lord swallowed hard, feeling the power that could easily tear him apart. His fur stood on end. Grinned, holding the golden, gleaming curved sword in his hand. 3, our boss said, either enter the sword willingly, or we 3 brothers send you into the ground. Without any hesitation, before absolute disparity in strength, all dignity becomes a joke. The 3 demon lords exchanged glances, seeing the bitterness and helplessness in each other's eyes. They obediently forced out their blood essence and merged it into the precious sword. Good, young giant watched all this expressionlessly. Pass the order. All demon tribes above the Vajra realm. Within half a month, report to King Yang City's Heavenly Court Academy. Awaiting orders. Yes, my lord. The 3 demon lords lowered their proud heads. Young giant said no more. Leading his army, he flickered and vanished. A war that could overturn the entire southern domain's demon race structure ended without even a spark. The half-month deadline for King Yang City arrived. The city was packed to overflowing. Outside the city, spiritual stone caves filled the land. Cultivators and demons from all over the southern domain looked with complex expressions at this. mighty city that had become the southern domain's center. What made them most terrified were the patrols within the city, all uniformly clad in silver armor, expressionless with deep auras, divine artifacts used as patrol soldiers. A nascent soul-old monster who had just entered the city, his eyes nearly popping out of their sockets, quickly restrained his aura and obediently queued up, afraid of courting death with a single misstep. With asterisk dong asterisk, a bell tolled across heaven and earth. Young Giant's figure appeared above the Heavenly Court Academy. Behind him were 35,000 silver-armored heavenly soldiers, a dense dark mass, blocking out the sun, all golden core realm, and above cultivators, assemble at the Academy Square. His voice not loud, yet it rang clearly in everyone's ears. Countless streaks of light rose from all over the city, landing densely on the vast square. Humans, demons, righteous and heretical cultivators, all now obedient as students. Young Giant's gaze swept over the hundreds of thousands of cultivators below. His expression cold, he raised his hand and waved. A giant light screen unfurled in the sky. Before we begin, let me show you all a play. San, each of you take 10,000 heavenly soldiers. Follow the map. Anyone above the golden core realm who has not come here. Kill them all. Yes, 2 armies of 10,000 instantly tore through space, disappearing before everyone's eyes. The next moment, the light screen in the sky lit up. The image split into dozens of small frames, broadcasting a bloody massacre in real time. In a deep mountain forest, a nascent soul-old monster in seclusion, hadn't even reacted, was pierced through by several heavenly soldiers' spears. In his cave dwelling, no one escaped, even a nascent soul was pinned to the cliff wall. In some self-righteous film sect's supreme elder, had just been startled awake, only to face a concentrated attack from thousands of nascent soul, heavenly soldiers. The entire sect, along with its mountain-protecting formation, was instantly blasted into dust. In a deadly forbidden land, several demonic overlords who thought they had escaped were dragged out from underground by heavenly soldiers, their demon souls crushed by silver spears. The scenes were bloody, efficient, and cruel. The hundreds of thousands of cultivators on the square watched, cold sweat streaming down. Those who had come reluctantly, still nursing grievances. Now only relief remains. From this moment on, Nanny has no more dissenting voices. Looking down at the thoroughly cowed crowd below, Young Giant knew the moment had come. From today onward, all sects and factions in Nanny are hereby dissolved. By decree, the Celestial Academy branch shall be established. All former titles of the demon race are abolished. Henceforth, whether human or demon, realm divisions shall follow the standard from Kai refining to tribulation transcendence. Any who disobey shall be slain without mercy. Having proclaimed the new iron laws, Young Giant's gaze hardened. He issued another command. All who have taken my pill, step forward and discard your former allegiance. Stand to the left. All golden core cultivators, step forward. Stand to the right. As the order fell, the crowd swiftly divided, forming 3 distinct and clearly separated formations. Young Giant turned his gaze to the remaining nascent soul and above powerhouses. With a wave of his hand, the investiture of the god's scroll and the 10,000 demon sword hovered in the air, radiating brilliant golden light. You divine-blooded ones, enter the scroll. You carved stone demons, enter the sword. No one dared to resist. Once enrolled, return immediately. Within 3 days, disband your sects. All cultivation techniques, secret tomes, and heavenly treasures shall be surrendered to the celestial court. 3 days from now, I will reorganize Nanny here. There is a greater purpose ahead. Chapter 49, Reorganizing Nanny suppressing the powerhouses, suppressing the strong. At Qingyang City's Celestial Academy Square, hundreds of thousands of cultivators, both human and demon, stood in utter silence. Young Giant's cold gaze swept across the entire assembly. He first looked at the tens of thousands of talisman and pill masters. Lingyi, subordinate of the 0 Division. Effective immediately, you shall take charge. Have your clones conduct one-on-one intensive training for them. Once the immortal demon battlefield opens, these people will become the first batch of specially appointed instructors for the various branches of the Celestial Academy. Lingyi nodded slightly. Han Shuming stood silently. Technical talent is always the cornerstone of war. This young giant understood well. His gaze then fell upon the over 100,000 golden core cultivators who dared not step forward. These people will also undergo systematic training. As reserve instructors, young giant transmitted his voice to Lingyi. Arrange all of this properly. Having settled everything, Young Giant turned to Asan, who had just been teleported. From the weapon factory, Boss Young Giant Big Brother. Asan scratched his head, still not used to the new address. 4 celestial court warships have been perfectly replicated according to the blueprints. Good, Young Giant's expression remained impassive. Take another 20,000 celestial soldiers to the weapon factory. Focus on the path of forging talismans. Within 12 hours, I want to see 20,000 heaven-grade talisman masters. No problem. Asen accepted the order and vanished with his army once more. War is ultimately about logistics. An overwhelming barrage of attack talismans can drive any enemy to despair. After all this was done, Young Giant's figure flickered away from the square. The next moment, he appeared at the Celestial Pride camp in Black Wind Ridge. Ada was carrying a massive heaven-crushing hammer, supervising the last batch, trainees still struggling with their main machines. Within the trial grounds, demonic energy surged to the heavens. A newly captured golden core stage demon was beating back 3 trainees step by step. Ada, Young Giant's voice sounded behind him. Young Giant Big Brother. Exactly what I said. Come see these little brats. Young Giant's gaze swept across all 108 people present. 90% had already stepped into the golden core realm. Their auras steady and foundations solid, but a few still lingered at the threshold. Not enough pressure, Young Giant said. Notify Mo Giant over there. Catch a few peak golden core demons and throw them in. Break through or die. Got it. A flicker of excitement gleamed in Ada's eyes. Only through life and death trials can true power be forged. 3 days passed in the blink of an eye. The Heavenly Court Academy Square was once again packed with people. Whether human or demon, all the remaining survivors from Naniu had gathered. This time their faces no longer held any trace of luck. Line up in 10 rows and come forward one by one. Young Giant's voice was icy cold. Hand over all the cultivation techniques and scriptures you brought back. Heavenly treasures and earthly rarities are to be surrendered as well. As soon as these words were spoken, the crowd fell into dead silence, then erupted into commotion. This wasn't just disarmament. This was uprooting their very foundation. A cultivator in a purple robe, shrouded in deathly aura, a void-refining elder leaped out from the crowd. He was a hermit recently, awakened from the depths of the earth. By the might of the heavenly court, Lord Moshu, we have already pledged our allegiance. Why must you be so relentless, cutting off our roots? His voice was hoarse, laced with unwillingness. These are the 1,000-year accumulations of our sects, legacies earned with the lives of countless disciples. Young Giant didn't even glance at him. State Preceptor Young Giant, he said coldly, staring at him. Your legacies, can they protect Naniu when the demon realm descends? Can your millennia of accumulation withstand the demon realm's frozen onslaught? No, you cannot defend them. Then they are not legacies, merely resources waiting to be plundered. I am not negotiating with you. 10 soldiers stepped out from the heavenly soldier formation behind him. No duels, no wasted words. They instantly formed a battle array. A devastating silver beam of light flashed before everyone's eyes. Gone in an instant, that void-refining elder, without even a scream, was erased along with his primordial spirit, as if he had never existed. Anyone else have objections? Young Giant's voice echoed slowly. Across the silent square, no one dared to speak. Everyone obediently lined up and came forward one by one. The second elder of the Heavenly Eye sect felt his hands and feet turn cold. He stared at the spiritual herb in his illusory realm, the one he had guarded for 800 years. The sect's last hope. His heart was filled with unbearable reluctance. But in the end, he gritted his teeth and stepped forward first, emptying his storage ring completely. With the first came the second. People numbly lined up, pouring their life's treasures and their sect's future onto that open ground, guarded by heavenly soldiers. The square was filled only with the clatter of artifacts and the suppressed breathing of the crowd. After each batch was surrendered, heavenly soldiers would step forward with special detection tools, meticulously checking to ensure nothing was hidden. After a full inspection, everyone was drained dry. They felt as if their backbone had been pulled out, standing numbly in place, awaiting an unknown fate. Just as despair settled over all, Ada led 108 youths with soaring auras, striding over from the direction of the armory. They had all undergone a complete transformation, each clad in a brand new warrior's battle armor, wielding artifacts and weapons of various designs, their eyes brimming with uncontainable sharpness and battle intent. Then tens of thousands of clones appeared, distributing several jade bottles to every cultivator who had just surrendered their entire wealth. Someone tremblingly opened a bottle stopper. A rich medicinal fragrance shot into the sky. The pills inside, each one swirled with perfect Tao patterns. Healing pills, mana-storing pills, antidotes, and even pills to stabilize cultivation realms. This is the legendary 9-turn resurrection pill. Our sex records mention it can revive the dead and restore flesh to bones. An old scholar exclaimed in shock, heavens. This is the Teksu calming spirit pill. With perfect Tao patterns, this single bottle is more precious than my entire sex pill storage combined. And each type comes in a full bottle of 100 pills. The crowd erupted completely. Everyone was stunned. The heavenly eye sect's second elder held the jade bottle, tears streaming down his face. He finally understood the meaning of Yang Giant's words. What couldn't be defended was just data. Now the heavenly court has taken their data away, yet given them the hope of turning it into true power. This is no longer an equal exchange. It is a blessing from heaven. So that was it. The heavenly court had never valued their possessions at all. This extreme contrast turned the crowd's despair into ecstasy. The humiliation of moments ago dissolved into awe and worship for the unfathomable heavenly court. Just then, Asen returned with 20,000 Fulu warriors, waving a hand toward Yang Giant. Boom, boom, boom. 4 massive shadows slowly descended from the clouds at the horizon. Chapter 50. The twofold sword points at both desires. They were 4 colossal warships, their hulls forged from an unknown black metal, engraved with dense arrays of runic patterns. Rows of dark cannon, moors lined both sides of the hulls. But at the prow sat a main cannon, capable of making even a fusion cultivator. Tremble with dread, Yang Giant's figure slowly rose into the air. He stood before the 4 warships, dark as clouds, his gaze as cold as ice. Ada Arer, Asen, and Lin Yai's each stepped forward, their auras like the moon as they took their places behind Yang Giant. Each of you 4 will command 15,000 heavenly soldiers. Lead all cultivators above the nascent soul stage from the southern domain. Unseal the divine list, and draw the sublist of swords. Divide into 2 forces. Yang Giant pointed east and west, his voice utterly devoid of emotion. Eastern domain, western domain. Within 1 month, subjugate every cultivator above the nascent soul stage, whether human or demon. All mixed bloods shall be entered into the list. Those who refuse kill without mercy. His voice was majestic, sending a chill through the hearts of hundreds of thousands of cultivators. Dai Liang, if you encounter trouble, do not return, press forward. Straight to the immortal demon battlefield. His gaze fell upon a few elders in the crowd whose faces showed terror, their bodies trembling slightly. Among them was that supreme second elder of the heavenly eye sect. The immortal demon battlefield is a war of races. Those who fear death are useless. Yang Giant's voice suddenly turned cold. Yang Giant's voice suddenly turned cold. And take them to the battlefield, to serve as vanguard cannon fodder for breaking formations. Let them shed their last drop of blood for the human race. 2 heavenly soldiers stepped forward, peering before those elders like ghosts. Spare us. Spare us. We are willing. We are willing. The second elder of the heavenly eye sect's pleas were cut short. Crack. Crack. Sealing runes instantly crawled. His entire body. His cultivation at the void. Refinement stage receded like a tide. The remaining few lacked even the courage to resist. Amid despairing screams, their cultivation was cleanly and efficiently sealed. The killing intent was palpable. The entire square fell into dead silence. Everyone shivered uncontrollably. Ada and Ah exchanged a glance, both grinning slyly. Then we brothers will take a stroll in the east, they said, pointing eastward. Asan and Lin Yai's tacitly chose the western domain. Move out, Yang Giant commanded. The 4 led their respective forces, stepping onto the path of slaughter. Lin Fan clenched his fists, exchanging glances with the other 107 star warriors. They weren't here for sightseeing. Commander Yang Giant had given them no choice, for they were the very tip of the war's blade. At Yang Giant's signal, 108 streaks of light shot into the sky, landing steadily on the flagship behind him, the heavenly court's Lin Hao. The moment he set foot on the deck, Lin Fan's breath caught. A viscous, liquid-like spiritual energy surged toward him, frantically pouring into his limbs and bones. The bottleneck of his recently stabilized cultivation faintly showed signs of loosening. He instinctively looked down. On the deck, warm and smooth as jade, countless profound runes flowed like a river of stars. Countless profound and proud texts flowed like a river of stars. Just standing here, my cultivation speed rivals bitter cultivation in a top-tier cave dwelling. Everyone stands steady. The sound of robes rustling echoed behind them. Still cold and aloof, he was clad in white robes, forming a stark contrast with this icy war behemoth. This is the Heavenly Court's expedition flagship. No secondary cannons, only one main cannon, named Arrow Breaker. A single strike can shatter a secret realm's barrier. One sentence made all the prodigy's pupils contract sharply, destroying an entire secret realm. Before they could digest this horrifying information, Janju suddenly jolted. The scenery outside the window instantly turned into a chaotic stream of light. We have entered void teleportation. Estimated arrival at the western border in half an hour. Ling Yi pointed at a distant, slowly opening metal giant door. That is the virtual combat room. Your first mission begins now. Within half an hour, your group of 108 must defeat the simulated demon tribe 1,000-man squad inside. There is one nascent soul, perfection stage leader. If you fail, the Western expedition is over. You have no right to set foot outside this war vessel. Ling Yi's gaze swept over everyone, finally landing on Lin Fan. Lin Fan, you are the top, rookie. This simulation battle will be commanded by you. War is no game, nor is it training. This is your only chance to prove you are not useless. No shock, no exclamations. Lin Fan only felt a surge of hot blood rushing to his head. He looked behind him at 107 pairs of eyes woven with trust and battle intent, and fiercely clasped his fists. Yes, instructor, their trial, their war, had truly just begun, as the 4 war vessels slowly ascended, tearing through the void and finally vanishing into the sky. The plaza instantly became much emptier. Young Giant turned to look at the remaining 5,000 heavenly soldiers, and the newly recruited cultivators. Patrol the Heavenly Court Academy. Immediately patch any security loopholes. At the Fallen Soul Abyss Demon Realm Passage. Assign personnel for 12-hour rotating shifts. Reinforce the seal without error. Also, he looked at the new instructors and mentors. Training for all Golden Core cultivators and below begins immediately. Double the intensity. The Southern Domain will become our most stable rear base. Chapter 51, Those who follow me prosper. Those who oppose me perish. Heavenly Court's small war machines. Deep within the innermost forbidden ground, the giant spirit array on the ground had already been operating beyond its limits. Provisional, due to spiritual energy depletion. Turned to fine powder. Dai Tian sat cross-legged in the center, eyes closed. He had been in this state for a long time. He knew of the turmoil outside, but did not want to see it. In his view, going out and wandering was risky. What if the Eastern Domain, or the Western border, hit some old monster who had lived for thousands of years? Even if the probability was only 1 in 10,000. That was still a risk, so he chose to stay in the innermost protective circle. Little Demon Girl, start comprehension, max output. Completely seal off their aura. As the system spirit, Little Demon Girl's voice faded. Dai Tian felt countless insights into techniques, laws, their understanding and application, flooding into his mind like a tidal. That was the experience fed back from over 30,000 clones fighting and killing abroad. After their enlightenment, this feeling was wonderful. It was as if he was in 30,000 places at once, in 30,000 postures, dancing on the edge of life and death, while his main body was as steady as an old dog bliss. Outside, Young Giant and the others can handle it. I just need to stay here and get stronger. Eastern Domain, Azure Dragon Gorge. This is the gateway to the Eastern Domain's #1 sect, the Azure Cloud Sword sect. 2 pitch-black war behemoths hovered in midair, their massive shadows cast down. The Azure Cloud Sword sect below hadn't even reacted, before being locked down by an icy, oppressive force. Ada stood at the bow, and Tian hammer dangled casually in his hand. On the other hand, wasn't so proper. He crouched on the railing, holding a handful of roasted forest melon seeds. He cracked them open while looking down. Ada, this place has plenty of spiritual energy. Probably has quite a few good things. Spat out the melon seed shell. With a cheeky grin, he patted the Rui Jingle Bang. How about I go down first and scatter a couple of local specialties? Adar asked in a low, cautious tone. The official business comes first. Young Giant said. Those who refuse will be dealt with by force. Those willing to join the list, take their things and let them follow along. Don't waste time, all right. Ur's figure flickered. He appeared directly above the protective mountain formation of the Beyond Sword sect. Listen up, you old geezers inside. Shouted at the top of his lungs. His voice spread for hundreds of miles. Heavenly court. Business. Those not involved kneel down. Those at the divine transformation stage. And above, bring your mixed blood disciples and the warehouse inventory out to receive your reward. Below, the Beyond Sword sect instantly erupted into chaos. Beams of golden light shot into the sky. The three supreme elders of the Beyond Sword sect, all at the peak of the void refinement stage. The leader among them had even half a foot into the unity stage. You reckless fool, how dare you? Run wild in the Beyond Sword sect. The leading old Taoist's beard trembled with rage. He swung his long sword fiercely. The mountain-protecting formation instantly unleashed 10,000 thunderous sword beams. Laughed, you refuse a favor when offered. He didn't waste words, casually reaching into the storage pouch at his waist. He pulled out 2 handfuls of white powder and tossed them directly toward the formation. That wasn't ordinary lime. It was specially made formation-breaking powder, mixed with an enhanced version of chili powder. At the same time, he reversed his grip on the Rui Jingu Bang. His body instantly grew taller. The staff expanded with the wind, turning into a towering pillar that held up the sky. With a roar, arms exerted force. He struck the formation with a single, brutal blow. The thunderous sword beams collided with the staff and shattered. Meanwhile, the 2 clouds of white powder spread through the formation's cracks, instantly causing the disciples controlling the formation to have runny noses, and tears streaming down their faces. Their spiritual power flow even slowed down. Bastard, what kind of thuggish tactic is this? The old Taoist was choked, red-faced. This is just the appetizer. Ada moved at that moment too. He didn't bother with words. He directly activated the divine transformation fusion. Behind him, the power of 10,000 divine transformation heavenly soldiers transformed into beams of golden light and instantly merged into his body. The dragon shadows on his armor seemed to come alive, roaring and circling around him. Ada took a step forward, and the void itself trembled. And Tian hammer, carrying a destructive force, smashed directly into the weakest point of the mountain-protecting formation. Crack, the formation, strong enough to withstand a full-force attack from a unity stage expert. Shattered like glass, Ada's massive form landed on the main peak square of the Beyond Sword sect. The ground cracked with a huge fissure from his stomp. Submit or face death. He looked down at the Beyond Sword sect master, who barely reached his knee. His voice rumbled like thunder. The old Taoist looked up at the sky, at the 2,000 divine transformation, heavenly soldiers watching menacingly, then glanced at the hammer in Ada's hand. He had lived 800 years and never seen such a tactic. Like a common street thug, coming straight in with the force to level a mountain. The old Taoist lowered his head. His voice was dejected. The Western Domain's environment was far harsher than the Eastern Domains. Here it was all deserts and venomous creatures, and the people were more ferocious. Lin Yi sat in the cabin of the war vessel. Several maps floated before him. They were sent back by his clones, who had been sent out to gather intelligence. Brother Lin Yi, that ancient dragon city ahead, is said to have gathered many heretical cultivators from the Western Domain. They seem to have formed some kind of alliance, claiming they'll make sure we never return. Asen wiped the spear he was about to use, the hunting Keong spear. His eyes were filled with excitement. Lin Yi tapped his fingers on the table. The Western Domain doesn't need an alliance. One voice is enough. He stood up and walked to the edge of the ship. Ahead, black mist filled the void. Hundreds of Western Domain experts stood in the air. Their auras were cold and sinister. Those little bastards from the heavenly court want to use us as cannon fodder. Dream on. The leader, a man in black robes, stood on a massive ancient bird beneath his feet. His voice was eerie and grating. Lin Yi ignored his bluster. He simply said calmly to Asen, set up the formation. Not one of them escapes. Asen had been waiting for that order. The silver spear in his hand trembled violently. Behind him, the 15,000 heavenly soldiers instantly deployed the heaven-sealing net. Earthquake. 10,000 dragons returned to one. Asen roared. He transformed into a streak of silver light and charged into the black mist. Every spear light he unleashed tore through the defenses of a nascent soul cultivator. The one with the sword is the commander. Kill him now, the black-robed man shouted in panic. Lin Yi moved. The Yuking sword left its sheath. There were no countless sword shadows, only a single thin, almost invisible sword aura. The sword aura sliced through the void, leaving a pitch-black crack in its wake. The black-robed man at the nascent soul stage didn't even have time to activate his defensive artifact. His head flew into the air, even the ancient bird beneath his feet. was cut cleanly in two by this sword aura of extreme sharpness. Anyone else want to resist? Lin Yi sheathed his sword, his tone as flat as if asking for directions. The Western domain's self-proclaimed ferocious. Masters were now silent as mice. They were indeed ruthless, but faced with someone who could instantly kill a peer, and backed by over 10,000 nascent soul cultivators ready to attack at any moment. That bit of ferocity vanished instantly. Collect the souls, Lin Yi waved his hand. The clone grabbed the Fengshen Bang by the handle and landed skillfully on the ground. In 1 month, the Southern Domain's army completed a sweeping conquest at a speed that made the entire cultivation world drop their jaws in shock. Any organized resistance seemed pale and powerless before the brute force of the fused clones, the elixirs and spirit food of the Eastern Domain. The ores and unique resources of the Western Domain flowed like streams into the sea, through the shared storage space, converging madly on Qingyang City. After all resources entered the Heavenly Court Academy, they were converted into weapons and armor for slaughter. The remaining nascent soul, Heavenly Soldier's armor, was all upgraded to heaven-grade mid-rank defense sets. Every time they arrived at a sect, the clones maintained their habits well. What material is this floor tile? Looks good. Pry it up. This pillar has a dragon pattern with some charm. Chop it down and take it. That old man's wine flask is a spirit treasure. Confiscate it under this extreme efficiency. The large powers of the Eastern and Western domains completed their initial consolidation within a month. Those who didn't comply were already in the ground, becoming fertilizer for the Southern Domain Heavenly Court Academies. Herb Garden. Those who complied were now obediently in their respective war vessels, ready to head to the place that made them pale at the mere mention, the immortal demon battlefield. At the top of Qingyang City's Heavenly Court Academy, Yang Jian looked at the newly built, massive fleet arrayed across the sky. His expression cold. He knew this was only the beginning. The timing is about right. He slashed the void with his three-pointed double-edged blade. A massive golden teleportation array appeared in midair. This was no ordinary teleportation array. It was a cross-realm summoning function that the Heavenly Emperor, upon Yang Jian's request, had the system spirit activate temporarily. It forcibly opened a channel in the void, leading directly to the central domain battlefield. Target Immortal Demon Battlefield. Set out, Ju's engine let out a muffled roar. Just then, at the edge of the distant central domain, by a demon realm passage, countless massive demonic shadows were gathering. And in a corner of these shadows, a few inconspicuous low-ranked demons were huddling together, exchanging a certain kind of look. That was Dai Tian, seeds planted long ago within the demon realm. Avatar, the big fish, has taken the bait. They plan to use the tail point, circle draw tactic to ambush the human reinforcements on the immortal demon battlefield. In the command room, Dai Tian opened his eyes, the corner of his mouth twitching. Tail point, circle draw. I know that trick well. Through shared vision, he watched the mountains of resources piled up behind the demon army, his eyes lighting up. These demons are loaded. Both inspectors, hear my command, change the plan. We won't circle them. We'll go straight through the teleport and stab their lair. Since they want to play, let's play big. As the order was issued, the four armies already inside the teleport channels suddenly and eerily changed direction midair. Their original course toward the front lines veered off instantly. They were about to give those demons a three-alls policy surprise they'd never forget. Chapter 52, Kixie Demon Capital Overture of the Three-Alls. Inside the dark void passage, four colossal war behemoths were tearing through space at astonishing speed. In the command room of the Heavenly Court's Lin Hao, the atmosphere was tense. The forcibly conscripted experts from the human and demon races all sat in shock, their expressions complex. Through specially crafted windows, they watched the bizarre, chaotic streams of light outside, their hearts filled with fear of the unknown immortal demon battlefield, yet also deeply awed by the Heavenly Court's unheard-of war vessels. Compared to their unease, the silver-armored heavenly soldiers, pacing the passage on patrol, all wore expressionless faces, their eyes steady and calm, as if they were heading not for a sea of blood and mountains of corpses, but for an ordinary outing. Massive metal door slowly slid open. Lin Fan walked out with 107 rookies, each one weary-faced, but their eyes blazing with startling intensity, and their bodies exuding a fierce aura fresh from bloodshed. The few male demon patriarchs in the command room twitched their brows. They could sense that these youths' auras had condensed several times more than before boarding. Lin Fan turned to a corner, where a white-robed youth sat with eyes closed, and bowed respectfully. Instructor Lin Yi, the 10th wave of Demon Lord simulations has been cleared. Lin Yi opened his eyes, nodded, and said nothing. War is the best catalyst. The entire warship suddenly shuddered. Just then, the distorted light outside the window froze abruptly, turning into a deep, dark purple sky. We've arrived. A demon king instinctively stood up, gazing nervously out the window. The expected battlefield of clashing war cries did not appear. Instead, there was an immense, demonic energy-charged, majestic city. The city was built from pitch-black boulders, its style twisted and savage. Countless demons bustled to and fro within, streets teeming with traffic, and even the clamor from below could be heard. A scene of prosperity, completely unguarded. Where is this? Isn't this the central imperial battlefield? A human sect leader asked. Beside the black stone city, a rogue cultivator who had once participated in the immortal demon tremblingly uttered 3 words, Demon Realm's northern capital. One of the 3 great capitals. We've come straight into the demon lair. All the conscripted cultivators, as soon as these words were spoken, turned pale in an instant. At the flagship's bow, young Giant stood calmly in the air, his silver armor gleaming coldly under the dark purple sky. He looked down at the demon capital below, still immersed in its complacent peace, unaware, his handsome, dignified face utterly expressionless. Slowly, he raised his hand, then let it fall gently. 2 words, icy cold, open fire. Then softly uttered the 2 words, open fire, icy cold. Without a trace of emotion, it fired. The 4 war vessels' main cannons, which had been humming in competition, all lit up with blinding light at the same moment. Terrible energy gathered at the cannon muzzles, and even the surrounding space began to warp. The next instant, 4 beams of destruction, so thick they inspired despair, tore through the sky. Above Blackstone City, the citywide formation, invisible to the naked eye, couldn't hold for even a single breath before the beams. Like thin paper touched by a red-hot branding iron, it silently dissolved into nothing. Then the towering city gate tower, 100 jang high, forged from 1,000-year hardened iron, along with the dumbfounded demon guards on the city wall, all turned to ash in the beams of light. Countless demons inside the city looked up, staring in terror at the 4 holes in the sky, like divine judgments, and the 4 war behemoths hovering beyond those holes. Heavenly Court's forces, young Giant's voice. The order rang clearly into every heavenly soldier's ear. Execute the 3 cleansings, kill. The vanguard of 3,014 soldiers charged out first. 35,000 heavenly soldiers, along with the reluctant cultivators forced to follow, descended from the sky like a silver flood of doom. Some soldiers, the moment they landed, skillfully pulled out formation flags from their storage treasures. With astonishing speed, they laid down layers of traps around the city, completely cutting off the demons' escape routes. The remaining army split into squads, like precise scalpels, cutting into every corner of the city. Kill every living soul, loot every resource, burn every building. An efficient, cold, and brutal war of plunder had officially begun. A demon general, just reacting and trying to resist, hadn't even unleashed his artifact, before 3 silver spears, thrust from different angles, pierced his demonic body in an instant, and his soul scattered on the spot. On the other side, the owner of a demonic shop tried to activate the barrier, but a pair of heavenly soldiers had already broken through the door. One handled the killing of the rest, while the other, within half a breath, swept every item off the shelves clean. Their movements were fluid, their coordination flawless. The reluctant cultivators, swept along into the city, were utterly stunned. They had imagined the heavenly court's might, but never thought its way of war would be so savage. Brutal without mercy, without hesitation, without even a single unnecessary word. Every living thing that resisted, man or woman, young or old, mortal or demon, under the soldiers' seamless combat coordination, was instantly slaughtered. All valuable resources were quickly sorted and packed, then vanished from the spot, through some unknown means. Thrilling, a roared charging ahead, his golden cudgel whirling with fierce momentum. He smashed open the sturdy gates of the city lord's mansion with one blow, heading straight for the treasure vault. Boom! The vault door shattered into pieces under his strike. The next moment, a dazzling treasure light burst forth from the storeroom. Piles of demon stones and demon essence, along with rare demonic metals and spirit herbs, made everyone behind him stare wide-eyed. Ha-ha, dove into the mountain of treasures. Don't hold back, Ba waved his hand, grabbing a mountain-sized pile of top-grade demon stones himself, stuffing them into his storage space. As everyone frantically looted, Hassan noticed something in an inconspicuous corner. 10,000 transformations, 5 elements returned to 1. He frowned slightly, and with a light flick of his jade-like spear, pried up a loose floor tile. A deep tunnel entrance was revealed, and a nauseating stench of blood and evil rushed out from within. Hassan didn't hesitate. He slipped inside. The tunnel wasn't long. At its end was a spacious secret chamber. In the center of the chamber stood a pile of countless still-beating, living hearts. The evil altar constructed. Upon the altar, demonic chi-wreathed chains bound a human cultivator with a faint aura. His bones were shattered, his cultivation wasted, leaving only his eyes, still flickering with a flame of unwillingness. From his tattered, white robe embroidered with a golden small sword, he was not from the southern domain, but from the very core of the cultivation world.